All right, welcome back to the 190 series. Out of this world burrito. Today we are going to be trying to finish the Naboo Legacy and maybe start our piloting, but we'll see how far we get. As well, there's not a lot of the Naboo Legacy left. It is still a very long section. However, over the weekend, Life Day is started in SWG Legends. So first, I like to get my med buffs, and then I'm going to show new players, characters that you're leveling, or just even if you're level 90, useful things to do. So let's go get our buffs from our favorite Bothan medic. That isn't me. So, with Life Day in effect, there's a lot of content that players can get into at all levels. You don't have to be level 90 to participate. So, for example, there's a lot of things you can go do that being level 90 would be advantageous. But you don't have to be level 90. Most of the activities you could do at your current level. So let's go do a couple of those. So first of all, Life Day is held in 4 locations. Yes, it's held on Wayfar on Tatooine, Dierek on Talos, Duaba Gurfel on Corellia, and Kachiro Kashyyyk in the Life Day Grotto. We're going to go to the Life Day Grotto, so let's fly over to Kashyyyk. We're going to go here because there are some unique activities that can be done here. First of all, I got the Location Discovery Badge of Kashyyyk, the capital city of the Wookiee homeworld, because this character's never been here. And then let's call our mount. You can see it's snowing here on Kashyyyk, the jungle planet. We're hitting a little bit of lag here because there's a lot of players hand sampling. In fact, let me turn off player names. There we go. That should help a little bit. So the reason everyone's here hand sampling is because there's a few new items introduced with this year's Life Day. The first one being is a new Kashyykan treehouse. This is different than the treehouse that existed on Live. This is one modeled and implemented by the SWG Legends staff. It's very cool. The other items are all wall panels or other furniture that are new. Mostly wood panels and arches, which players have been requesting for a while. So yeah, if we cross the bridge just to the left of the starport, so west out of Kachiro, or yeah, like west, and go across, there's a new little door to click on. Click on that door. Now we're in the Life Day Grotto. We're gonna have to drive a little bit to get to where we're going. So let's go down these trenches. This is probably the least inconvenient area to access of Life Day compared to Duaba Gurfel, Dierek, or Wayfar even. I would say that if you're trying to get to the most convenient spot, go to Duaba Gurfel. Sondon is just left of the starport as you exit. Dierek would be next most convenient. Wayfar probably being a little less convenient because there's no starport. You got a shuttle there. This one's the most inconvenient though, based on the time you have to drive. But here we are. So the things that you want to do when you first show up to anywhere that's celebrating Life Day is head over to the big Life Day tree and open up your radial menu with the tilde key. And first of all, look for gifts. So this is going to give us some items, including a decorator for storytelling tokens, an ornament, and a Life Day gift box, and a gift box for a friend. So if we go over in our inventory, we can see these items, and the Life Day gift box we can open, which we will do somewhere else, and you'll see why later. And then the Life Day gift box for a friend is you got to trade it to somebody else, because, you know, it's a season of giving, as is Life Day, so we give it to someone else. And we also get a mail explaining Happy Holidays from the Legend staff, and that check your inventory for the gifts. You should open one and give the other to a friend. May the force be with you. But if we bring the radio open menu again on the Life Day tree, you can also do retrieve Life Day badge, which we'll see a Life Day caroler at our Life Day collection. If we go to our collections window, scroll to the bottom, you'll see the Life Day badge right there. And since this is a new character, I don't have any other Life Day badges so far. 2023 will be their first Life Day celebration. So the other thing that you can do at any location is head over to Sondon, talk to him. If you go with the what can I do for you, you'll do a quest where you'll have to go to Corinne and Mos Entha, and then you'll have to go see the Jawa traders on Tatooine, which will then leave you over to Mos Espa. And at the end of that quest chain, there's no comment involved, anyone can do it, even a level 5 crafter that just was made, you get a Stap Speeder. And the Stap Speeder is a really cool mount that you can use a vehicle modification kit to up its stats if you really like it and want to go a little bit faster. I have one on my crafter, so maybe you may have seen it a few times on my other streams. But the second option is probably the most important option that I want to bring to everyone's attention, which is I can't right now. I want to see what you were selling. And if you already did the quest, this would be worded a little differently. So Sondon has 3 items you could buy: a holiday firework package, which just lets you fire off fireworks. And then you'll see 2 buff items, Wookiee Ookies and Hoth Chocolate. Hoth Chocolate is 1,500 credits, so are Wookiee Ookies, but you'll see that the stat benefits are pretty good, with the cookies giving you 125 Constitution, increased movement effect, and then the second one being a damage increase and action cost reduction. So what we can do is we can buy each of these items, go to our inventory, and then we can consume the cookies and consume the Hoth Chocolate, and then we can actually go back and buy another 2. Same thing. This will increase our buff duration from 50 minutes, and then we could buy a 3rd set to consume later, because the buff duration of these items, as said in their descriptions, can't exceed 2 hours. So we're at 140. If we were to try to consume another set, it'd say, give us a message like this, which is, you cannot consume that. Cumulative duration would exceed 2 hours. But we can hold it in our inventory. You'll notice, though, that the Hoth Chocolate, it gets cold after a little while, so we have to consume it within 50 minutes, which is fine. If we wait for 40 minutes, we'll be able to consume both of these. But I recommend doing this because damage increase, action cost reduction is really nice. And then, of course, extra con's always good, and then get that movement modifier stacked on it. That movement modifier is not as big if you're using Acaragum or if your Entertainer buff has Go With The Flow in it. It won't really stack any higher than 25% on base speed, like I've mentioned before. But just in case you're running something else, and you still get that extra 10. The other thing that's at every location is there are factional NPCs over there where you can see some players standing. That's the Imperial NPC representative. Over here is the Rebel, denoted by the flags. And if we speak with them, there's a few things we could do here. We could check the leaderboards for who's earned the most propaganda tokens today. There is seeing what's for sale. And then lastly is a set of daily missions that we can do. These missions can be done either as a combatant for the faction, meaning that NPCs of the opposite of factions, so in my case, stormtroopers would attack me if they see me. Or if you flag up to special forces before grabbing the quest, you can do the same daily mission. These missions last for 30 minutes, I believe, and then you can do them once a day. It's similar to the Empire Day missions. If you're a combatant, for every objective you complete during the mission, you'll get 5 Life Day propaganda tokens, either Rebel or Imperial. And if you're Special Forces, you'll get 15. So Special Forces players can earn 3 times as much as a combatant, but you incur the risk of PvP. If you're level 90, I would recommend taking the Special Forces one, even if you're not into PvP, just because, hey, you could still earn a lot more even if someone shows up and kills you, whatever. I also think that spontaneous PvP is pretty fun. However, if you just want to get consistent tokens, not worry about it, then I would just stay combatant. If you're not level 90, I definitely would not do PvP. So if I would do these missions right now, I would stay combatant. I'm not going to do them right now, though, because it's just driving around for rebels and clicking on trees to decorate. If you're Imperial, you go around and crush presents because you're a monster. So we're not going to do any of those, but I will show what's for sale, which is a lot of items that you've probably seen before, such as family bonds, painting, some other Wookiee paintings, some schematics for food, some other unique items. You get decorative cookies and Hoth Chocolate, which won't expire once the event ends, so if you want to put them around your house, you can. Some apparel. But the new items I was talking about earlier is down at the bottom, which I didn't really elaborate why everyone's hand sampling. Everyone's hand sampling on Kashyyyk is because all of the new items are schematics that need to be crafted by a structures trader, and they all require Kashyykan wood, either deciduous, conifer, or both. So in the case of the Kashyykan treehouse, it requires 1,500 units of, I believe, conifer wood, and then 2,500 of deciduous, or flip that, one of the two. And then the rest of these usually require a number of wood in the hundreds, and since you can't place harvesters on Kashyyyk, everyone's out there just extracting wood. So if you're wondering why everyone's hanging around, getting wood out of the ground, this is why. Now, the reason I came to the Life Day Grotto is to come here, which is the Life Day Grotto Guild Hall, which has some cool decor done by the Legend staff, but there's also some one-time activities to do in here. So the first one you'll see Chewbacca standing on a Life Day tree and some ornaments on the tree. If we walk up, wait, and then click the Life Day ornament, we can add these to collections. And what that does is you've been rewarded with 50 Life Day tokens. If I open my inventory, I have 50 Life Day tokens there. To my knowledge, flagging up for Special Forces and doing this doesn't give you any more. You're welcome to try it. But we're just going to keep clicking ornaments, and we'll keep getting more and more tokens doing this. This takes a little bit of time, as there's a good amount of ornaments here. So I'm not going to do them all right now. The other thing that some of you may have noticed is that there's these presents under the tree and around this room. If you go over and click on a pile of presents, it'll say you tear over the wrappings to reveal a Life Day item. If I go in my inventory, you'll see that I got one of those Life Day items that's currently for sale in the vendor. These are random. To my knowledge, I think most of the items in the gift wrapping can be, or most of the items on the vendor you can get in the gift wrapping. I haven't gotten any of the new schematics, so those might not be in the pool. But if I go over and click this other one, you can see that this time I got a Wookiee Life Day necklace. So that one's cool. I don't remember seeing that on the vendor, so maybe that one's unique. But you can keep clicking and opening all those. That doesn't take as long as decorating, but I'm not going to stand around and do them all right now. You're all welcome to do that on your own time. But let's go open up our Life Day gifts somewhere a little less crowded, and you'll see why. Some of you may be asking, why am I not ITVing back to Kashyyyk? Well, those of you who have been watching from the beginning know that I haven't been here yet on this character, so I haven't been able to demonstrate. No matter where you are in Kashyyyk, you can't call an instant travel pickup vehicle. That's also why you don't have player AT-AT heads, so those destination ITVs I've talked about before, or I guess they're house ITVs. None of them go to Kashyyyk because you just can't. Let's go to, let's see. Where we are in the legacy is going to Boss Nass, who's outside, who's to the far southwest. So once we travel a little bit, we'll open that Life Day gift. Okay, so here we are on Naboo. We're getting ready to hop back in the legacy quest. Let's open up our Life Day gift box first. So when you double click to open this, you'll get a random item from the vendor. So this is different than what I got last time. Last time I actually got Family Bonds Radiant, which was a good pull. But you'll see a bunch of seeds are firing out everywhere now, and you see some terrain popping in, some trees slowly going. So when you open the Life Day gift box, this actually spawns a Life Day tree, some festive-looking Worshires, and then it's trying to spawn the foliage that grows with it. Yeah, it's a cool feature. The problem is that it is kind of noisy and it plays some music. It's kind of hard to hear over the rain, but yeah, it's festive and fun. But if you get a lot of people opening these boxes at once in one area, you can cause some havoc. On live, these were known to crash sectors of the server. I believe the Legend staff has patched most of that. A few Life Days ago, I did have a friend who crashed a section of Talus when opening one of these on his own, so that was funny. But you see that they just last for a little bit. Foliage starts despawning, the trees despawn. So that's why I didn't want to open in the Life Day Grotto. You know, just in case. I didn't want to crash anything. Let me get these. Actually, let's put them in a bank terminal. I don't need to be carrying these things right now. All right, so let's start heading out towards Boss Nass, who's kind of in a remote part of Naboo. I'll call on a supply drop when I get out there, if I remember. One thing that I wanted to also mention about the Hoth Chocolate and Wookiee Ookies is that these are not unique to Life Day. There are also two buff variations available during Empire Day and Galactic Moon Festival. Galactic Moon Festival is Ula's Libation and something else. The Candy Rancor Brains. And then during Empire Day, it will depend on the faction that you're aligned with. For Rebels, it is Death Star Cola and a cookie or a snack, and then for Imperials, it's something like that as well. So these buffs are always available during holidays. It doesn't look like either of these give experience bonuses, but I think either one of the Empire Day foods or one of the Galactic Moon Festival foods also gives an XP bonus. But we're not too worried about that. We're a little bit over-leveled, as we all know. Whoa, why are there so many Ultra Gunkins here? It's like a quest area for something? Oh, we're already out. Got it. Yeah, we are. So we got here actually faster than I thought we would. So what I want to do is let's use our Snowspeeder ITV. Can I call it here? Let's call our ATRT because I might have to guess a couple of times. You can actually get the ITVs, I think, a little bit closer than you can the structures. Yeah. Okay. Can I call it here? That's not it. Sick. But let's, Mahler's Corinne we will need to go back to. So let's just overwrite my home location with Boss Nass. I like labeling them with the planet and or major city near it just for my own reference. All right, so that puts us 500 meters out from him, which is not too bad considering that player city was a little over 1,000. It's going to save us a little bit of time. Then once we get up to Boss Nass proper, I'll call in the supply drop while we're talking to him. Mordran? Mordran? Is that the name of this area? I guess so. A show font wants to kill me. What's up, Sub-Zero? You're told to skip Naboo by using mission terminals. Why is this? You were probably told to skip Naboo using mission terminals because there are others. By the time you finish the Legacy quest on Tatooine, you're probably going to be pushing level 30. And really, that's pretty accessible for a lot of early level Kashyyyk stuff. Like the Deadwood is about mid-30s. So if you use mission terminals, which will give you 150% of your base level, you can kind of push by that. And you can skip the Naboo Legacy. And the main reason for that is Naboo Legacy is one of the longest stretches of Legacy and can take a long amount of time. I've been smashing through it, but that's with a combination of pre-existing knowledge, programmed ITVs, and etc. So that advice is basically just saying, hey, I don't think Naboo's Legacy is very fun. It's skippable. I wouldn't disagree with that. I'm nostalgic for Naboo Legacy, but I won't say it's slowest. However, on the flip side, while you can skip and go to Kashyyyk immediately, similarly, Kashyyyk is, you can't call speeders in most of it, and even creature mounts are limited, so I don't really think Kashyyyk's that much faster. It's just kind of pick your poison kind of area. There's no other real in-between content by skipping Naboo, because if you skip Naboo, I don't even know if you could start Corellia. If you skip Naboo, you have to go to Kashyyyk because Nim's theme park isn't available until 60-something. Unless you just want to use mission terminals all the way from late 30s to 60s, which would take a long time. Not something I'd recommend doing. I don't think Naboo's that bad, but here we are at Boss Nass. I'm not going to do an accent, everybody. It's going to put that right out there right now. Misa was told to expect Yusa, and Misa need Yusa assistance. Some Gungan artifacts were stolen. Misa need Yusa to get them back. In exchange, while Yusa recovering those artifacts, Misa will figure out a way to get past the security on Ultra Gungan battle droids, which including the ones Yusa seek. Where do I start? According to Misa Sorsen, the first one being with the Maulers. They have a camp nearby. Man, this is... I wonder how hard was this to write. Excellent. We're going to return when you used to have the artifact. All right, so again, this is part 4 of the RSF computer that we've been going for, and this is the last droid component we need. So we're helping Boss Nass, who will get us access to that droid component. Last time we finished with the Dija Peak section. You were lost in Jabba's Palace trying to find the NPCs a lot today. Yeah, Jabba's Palace is kind of hard to follow because there's not a lot of unique markers on the interior. A lot of the walls look the same and NPC setups look the same, which doesn't help. So I was getting lost there when I was playing. So we gotta defeat a bunch of Maulers. Looks like the Zealots are mostly outside, so let's start with them. Jabba's Palace is a cool area to be in. It's not a very easy to navigate area to be in. Yes, there are a lot of dead ends, like especially because a lot of those dead ends are doors, which makes it extra frustrating. Like you just walk up to a door and then it doesn't open. It's like, oh, thanks, great. Oh, that guy's stuck in the tree. R.I.P. dude, he's become one with nature. All right, so now we got to go inside and find some fiends and fanatics. Forgot I still had like names off from being on Kashyyyk, so I saw that guy, I was like, wait. So how are you blasting through them so quick? Should you be buying weapons as you level on the medic? I'm blasting through them quickly is because no matter what you do, you're going to be over-leveled for these quests, especially if you're getting entertainer buffs like I've been. That's just unavoidable. I'm not doing anything special there. What I'm doing that is helping these go fast is for long segments of driving, I'm circumventing them by having my Snowspeeder ITV, which in retrospect, it's not saving me a ton of time. It's not like a game changer, but it does help. The other thing, too, is I'm making sure that I'm grabbing as many quests as I can when they appear. Okay, we don't want to defeat the named NPC. Where are the fanatics? I guess they're outside somewhere. But, like, so a really good example of that is when I was... hold on, I'm trying to think of a good example. There's a few NPCs that we get to where I could take more than one quest at a time from them, and I have to complete all or most of them. So I was making sure that I was talking to NPCs to make sure I get everything. A lot of players don't know that. Even I didn't, like, on live, because there's no real, like, precedent or example for that. So I always, like, double-check by talking to NPCs that give me a list of things to do to make sure there's nothing else to grab from them. Like, when I went to the RSF Terminal, everyone saw me open it up again to make sure I couldn't grab 2 quests at a time. Or a really good example is Hugo Eckner in Naboo Legacy. I talked to him and I was able to get both sets of quests at once. Or I was able to do his quest while doing Puja's other terrorist quest. And I was juggling those, so I had less driving to do. So there's things that I was doing to line those quests up to make them go a little bit faster. Getting crafted weapons while you're leveling up can be helpful, but like I've pointed out, a lot of the reward weapons are actually pretty good. You don't really need to get a lot of the crafted weapons. For me, with my melee setup, I've noticed a huge boon to having melee weapons, though, because even though those reward weapons are pretty good, I either am giving them too early in levels, so like I'll get a level 14 sword when I'm 12, or I'll get them too late. The problem is a lot of people don't craft... a lot of people don't craft those low-level weapons because it's a lot of resources for not a lot of return. Because, like, to cap the weapon, you still have to use good resources, right? And you still have to use components. But you can't really charge a lot because it's for low-level players. Like, well, low-level players are going to pay 150k for a level 18 weapon that they're going to dump in, like, a couple of levels, right? It doesn't make sense. So typically, if you want weapons leveled, like while you're leveling, you need to contact a weaponsmith and have them make them. Like I made all my own weapons. I've seen players in the Discord ask people, hey, I'm trying to level a character and I want more weapons or whatever. Can anyone fulfill X order for me? The other issue that I'll note is that medic is fairly slow to level compared to other professions. As you'll notice that a lot of your abilities are healing. Oh yeah, there we go. Now we got the POI. And your only offensive abilities is 1 direct special and then 2 dots, and you don't get that second dot until I think 34 or 38 nerve gas. So it's just kind of death by 1,000 cuts, and you're just sitting there outlasting people. You also don't get any movement speed increase inherent, so you only get the movement modifier given to you by Go With The Flow or Acaragum. Or I have not only that, but I also have Scatter and Charge now to make me get through these bunkers faster. User found a first artifact. Okie day, done. The next one being with the Skak Tippers. They have a base not far from here. More Skak Tippers. Yin Misa afraid so. This guy doesn't know anything that we've been doing so far, I suppose. Half the time, the dot doesn't even apply. Yeah, so the thing with damage over time abilities is that if you miss your attack, the dot does not get applied. So in the case of Medic, you have 2 offensive abilities for a lot of low levels, right? You have Vital Strike, and you have Neurotoxin, which is the dot ability. And if Neurotoxin misses, you have a very long cooldown before you have a chance of applying it again. Because remember, you still have to hit. Even if you buff your accuracy, which is not worth it for PvE, you still have a pretty good chance of missing it entirely. So with Nerve Gas, though, Nerve Gas will hit, so that will help. But Nerve Gas is a 20 to 30 meter AoE, and sometimes you don't want to pull the entire room at once, right? So you're not always going to be able to leveraging Nerve Gas also. Because while you do have some good heals, and lets you out survive things. You know, there are some times when you don't want to pull like 20 Wookiees at once in the Riot Trail, especially if you're at level. There was a good conversation in the Beastmaster channel recently where somebody asked, is there a difference between using damage over time abilities and direct abilities? The answer is not really. Alana, who's one of the QA members and very knowledgeable in Beastmaster, has just said that she has a preference for direct attacking moves, and I jumped off that going, yeah, I have a preference for direct attack moves with pets as also, because if bite misses, it's a 6-second cooldown, and then I could try to bite again. But if my dot misses, it's like slash. Slash is a 16-second cooldown for a pet. I have to wait 16 seconds again to try and reapply it. And then if I'm doing PvP, that target might just purge it anyways. You can't purge bite. It's a direct hit. You can mitigate bite, but you can't purge it. So, yeah, dots in this game are not as... They're very powerful. They're like commandos, again, one of the highest DPS classes in the game, and they're one of the best damage over time appliers. But they're not as attractive as in maybe other MMOs. So that's another reason why, like, if you're leveling medic, even though the second medic tree is way more important than the first medic tree, as it gives you way more healers and like way more heals, purges, gives you stasis, it makes you really hard to kill. If you're going to do that second tree to start, go down the right side and just make Vital Strike as strong and least costly as possible so you can just spam it. Or go in the first tree and try and get, like, the Carbine or melee abilities. Just so you have something other than just Vital Strike to spam. Because honestly, Medic's at the point where your problem isn't out-healing everything. It's making sure that you don't... that you can actually kill something. So let me see. Let me answer some questions in chat before I click all this stuff. Sup, Spaceman? You were wondering, do you have any game music off because of DMCA strikes, or can you stream the game with music if you wanted? Game music is actually on. It's just really quiet. I'll show you. So this is my master volume, because if I turn up too loud, it kind of like goes over. The same thing with music volume. So generally speaking, on Twitch, I've never gotten a DMCA strike for streaming Star Wars. The one time I did is I accidentally had my own music on, and that obviously got caught by Twitch's DMCA. It was specifically, I was listening to System of a Down. But on YouTube, yes, I have gotten DMCA'd a few times, or copyright stuff, which is specifically... Funny enough, it doesn't happen in the cantinas. It happens in space. Because in space, the combat music is the asteroid belt music from Episode 5, when Han Solo and group are trying to evade the Empire through the asteroid belt. And that gets DMCA like every single time. So like Episode 1 of the 1 to 90 Tansari, the point that got copyright struck was the space section, because when you're fighting in space, the space effects themselves actually aren't that loud other than like the Nova going off. It was just like the just ambient backing track. So if I wanted to avoid DMCA or copyright altogether, I'd actually want to turn off game music specifically when I'm in space. I might start doing that, but right now I don't really make any money off YouTube, so I don't really care if I got a copyright on it. And yes, I do have the time strap. I've listened to a lot of Star Wars soundtrack stuff. So okay, back to the quest really fast. Is that so? This is the gun and artifact, by the way, and this one's the unmarked crate. Click on it. I know that can be confusing. It just says you found what looks like the resting place of the artifact, but it's no longer there. There's a note from D-Skack saying that she was taking the artifact Skack to her cave near Dejah Peak. And then Boss Nass came over, said to Skack Tipper, leader of Disin Bunker, Tommy Skack, be unused to target. He'll mostly likely have the artifact, which we defeated him, didn't find it. Tommy Skack didn't have the artifact, searched a bunker for it, found it, and now we got to go to Dejah Peak. And this is the part of the legacy quest where it does take a long time, because the artifact we'll soon discover has been, spoilers, fractured into multiple pieces. And if you've probably seen in the background of the bunkers we've gone to, so we're gonna have to go to Dejah Peak, Kadara, and Theed, and Corinne. So basically at all the major cities, and then go back out to bunkers we've already been in, and get the art. Click on all the artifacts, and then come all the way back to Boss Nass here. You really want to just be careful. You don't watch Twitch. Yeah, Spaceman. I'd recommend if you want to be safe, just open the sound settings and take the background music volume and throw it down to 0. Just to be safe. Twitch has never gotten on my case for it, though. Even when I streamed other Star Wars games like Jedi Knights 2, Jedi Outcast, I never had any problems with that, except on YouTube. YouTube's a lot better at recognizing it than Twitch is. That or Twitch just ignores it more. I have a highlight reel of like when I got affiliate, and there's a clip from my Outcast playthrough, and it got copywritten for the same asteroid music that I was talking about earlier. I was fighting specifically on Bespin, and I was fighting a oh my god, the species name eludes me. The guy with the 3 eye stalks. I was fighting one of those guys, and he was doing something funny on a bridge, and that got me copyright strike. All right, so I believe the artifact in here is near the bottom, unfortunately. I don't remember where it is in here. If you ever get lost on where these artifacts are, the walkthrough in the SWG Legends wiki, which was ported over from the SWG wiki, is pretty up to date. It should have waypoints for basically everything in the Legacy Quest series. So, we got to defeat DSCAC. My wife's had a lot of stuff happen at work recently. And then that's been on top of just holiday obligations, you know, gift shopping, sending things in the mail on time. Like today, we're having my wife's brother and his girlfriend over for dinner. So I had to start a slow cooker recipe this morning. And then she also wanted to bake cookies today. So I did that, and then I double checked our ingredients to make sure we had enough. And sure enough, we were missing some, so I had to walk over to the store, get some more. Then I prepped all that. So you see that after getting this artifact from DSCAC, we actually have to return to Boss Nass. So that's why I set that Snowspeeder ITV location, because otherwise I'd have to go all the way to Anima, then drive out. So I'm saving a little bit of time, but luckily on Legends, that player city is pretty close. So the Snowspeeder is not saving me a ton of time. That's why I say the Snowspeeder is not essential for saving time. What's going to save you the most amount of time is this base movement speed, increasing abilities, and just like collecting as many quests as you can and knocking as many out as you can at the same time, so you don't have to repeat visiting bunkers repeatedly over and over again, especially in the Thieves section of the Legacy quest. Profession does help in some regards, and also having appropriate gears, like having good armors, allowed me to just run past and ignore those things, because generally they're not going to kill me or incapacitate me more accurately. Okay, so we're back at Boss Nass. Boss Nass won't talk to me because I have a monkey fighting me, but now the monkey's gone. Now the second artifact being safe. Yusa are doing okie day. The third artifact with the muskegs. The muskegs, I've dealt with them before. Then Yusa should have no trouble doing so again. Alright, so we gotta deal with the Radical Gungans, which are luckily nearby, but we're gonna have to visit a few camps and stuff. Alright, boss says, none of the Muskeg Anarchists had the artifact. Try the Muskeg Extremists next. So this should be familiar to the Theed quest, where we had to defeat 3 groups. We're going to have to defeat 3 groups again, I think, and then the last group will have it somewhere, because, of course. Trying to get these guys to group up a little bit. Unfortunately, they don't have melee. The nice thing about enemies with melee attacks is they'll actually chase you. Even if they have attacks that they can switch to melee, they'll chase you a little bit. When they're strictly ranged, though, I can't really control their movement at all. I think this guy's stuck in a tree. Yeah, I didn't need a core bomb there. The other thing about Medic is the only AoE they get... Yeah, the only AoE damaging ability they get is Nerve Gas, which is just a bleed. So you have no fast way of dealing AoE damage. While Nerve Gas is a good damage over time ability... Again, it's damage over time. Like, I don't need that much damage to defeat these enemies. They only have 3,800 health. So I have a dot that does 4,000 damage over 15 seconds. Or I could have an AoE that does 2,500 damage instantly. Well, obviously, I'm going to be getting it through it faster with the instant AoE than Nerve Gas. Because Nerve Gas actually has a, moderate length cooldown because it lasts for so long. Like, if you drop Nerve Gas will last until Nerve Gas is off cooldown. But Nerve Gas ticks for a long time, so... I'm fighting reactionaries. Oh, whoops. I see the two camps are next to each other, and I wasn't paying attention. Easy to do. The change in level should have noted that I was in the wrong spot, but I just wasn't paying attention. Okay. The Muskeg Extremists didn't have the artifact either. Maybe the Muskeg Reactionary have it. Alright, so now I can defeat these guys. So you notice that I'll try and like attack one, and then hopefully the core bomb hits and does good enough damage. Didn't defeat him, but got him close. When I don't have core bomb up, I'll just burn one at a time. We'll get some more AoEs in a couple more levels. Oh shit, I don't want to fight him yet. Okay, we're gonna ignore him. Because we're gonna have to defeat him in a second. So I'm actually gonna just let him beat me up for a little bit. Oh no, we're snared. Later, nerd. Okay, he dropped. We're gonna have to defeat him in a minute, which is why I don't want to defeat him yet. Okay, I need to wait for a reactionary to spawn, because I defeated too many. I do that, I can get rid of some of these posters in my inventory. Let's throw a knife at this guy, run up and beat him up. There we go. None of the henchmen had the artifact. Maybe 'tis actually with the leader this time. You better be right, boss. Drop core bomb, even though I didn't need to, but whatever. Alright, so he didn't have it either, or I guess he did. I thought I was gonna have to go click something, but no. Alright, let's head back to Boss Nass. Wow, bunker. I wonder if we have to go in there later. Stares at the camera. Boss Nass. Yet again, Yusa are successful, and a third artifact has been returned, though Darkwalkers have the next artifacts. Darkwalkers nearby, I presume? You have a camp nearby, that being a place to start. Alright. And we got a transfer order from leveling up as an officer. Is this Officer Quest 3? Nope, this is just a decorative item to your home. I think we might be out of officer quests. Let's put that in there. I gotta go beat up Darkwalkers. While we do that, I'll talk about the Game Awards really briefly. Oh, we also got Sure Shot Mark 4, so we take Mark 3 off. I don't think anything else, right? Nope. So you'll see at our next level, though, at 46, we will get AoE. 2 more AoEs. That's something to be excited for. What are the good food drink for Jedi to get? Besides Akragam for just moving around while questing, Breath of Heaven is still probably the best because Breath of Heaven gives you a giant boost to your constitution, and 3% dodge is kind of hard to pass up defensively. Let's see, I have some in here. There it is. So yeah, that's really good because it's hard to stack dodge outside of like this one food buff. So Breath of Heaven, I think some people like running Flame Out for the strike through chance, specifically, I think if you're running Dark Side Jedi, maybe. There's some people who also will take Mandalorian Wine, as I believe that buffs strength. I haven't used Mandalorian Wine in a really long time, so I don't remember. Sorry if I'm incorrect. But yeah, mostly Breath of Heaven. That's kind of true for most class professions. The only exceptions being medics. You're usually running Trimpian, which gives you a constitution boost and increases your healing potency. Gonna eat my holiday treats again. Okay, I forgot I got a grenade. But I think that's okay. Okay, so we defeated all the Darkwalker Prey Lords. Let's go inside and find the Death Ravens. No problemo. All Monster Hunter games are cool. I actually didn't... I tried Monster Hunter multiple times until... I bounced off of all of them until World. I really liked World. Put a few hundred hours into it in 2 separate playthroughs, one on the Xbox and one on my PC. And Griffin Striker was like, hey, you want to do another world? And I'm like, maybe. But it was weird because he brought that up like 2 weeks before the Game Awards. And I'm like, huh. Capcom's turned on. I liked Rise. It was okay. But the ride mechanic for the monsters themselves made every hunt the same. Because the most valuable thing to do was go find the monster you're not hunting, ride it into the other monster, and just rinse repeat. Doing anything else was just a waste of time. The Darkwalker Bloodlord ran Tristan probably has the artifact, probably. It's a lot of probablys, man. I didn't even need to pull these guys. Oh well. Alright, so we found the Gungan artifact. Let's go back to Boss Nass. When we have a minute, I'll commit this expertise point that we got from leveling up. I just want to talk about that briefly because I believe we're going to start investing in a new tree. And there's some general advice that I want to give about expertise point investment. There was also the game Exodus that was premiered. It was a like pre-rendered trailer, not gameplay, where it's former Mass Effect developers, and like I think maybe some worked on KOTOR. I'm like, cool, new sci-fi IP by people who made a sci-fi IP that I really liked. It's not gameplay though. I don't trust you, so I'll wait until you show me gameplay. I'm just really distrustful of trailers these days. I'm like, I'll wait for gameplay, but I'll keep an eye out. Here's Boss Nass again. Four of the 5 artifacts are now safely back in Misa custody. There being but one left, it was separated into 6 pieces by the Ultra Gungan militia and scattering to different parts of the planet. Retrieve all 6 pieces of this last artifact. Where are the pieces? One being in the Skaktip, a hideout near Kadara. The second being in the Mauler stronghold. The third being in the Mummer bunker near Dian. The fourth being in the Darkwalker cave near Dija Peak. The fifth being somewhere in Corinne. And the sixth being somewhere in Monia. Return to Misa with all Deb. Yeah. So this is the part where, wow, look, they're all at least 8,000 or 6,000 away. Yay. Well, when we get one, that's a bit of a drive. Let's talk about that. The order doesn't matter. Let's go to Kadara. Yes, Kadara. And that'll give me a minute to talk about expertise. Let's go this way. All right. So at level 42, we've gotten another expertise point. So you'll notice that, though, there's nothing really else that I care about for Officer at the moment. As talked about before, this is only useful if I have another player to target with it. This ability, Last Words, triggers when I die, and it restores people's action and damage output and dodge chance and healing or whatever and that I'm grouped with. Again, leveling solo doesn't matter. Rapid deployment reduces cooldowns of my stims, and I could eventually get better stims. Doesn't matter right now. I only have one AoE ability, so any of the AoE stuff is not helpful at the moment. So we're just going to go over to the Officer Specialization tree, and at the top of the tree, you'll see that we have to invest 4 points in a basic attribute before we can actually get into other more specific things. Not every tree is designed like this. So, for example, Smuggler, at the top of both of their trees, they'll usually have 2 basic attributes in each one. One being Precision Strength, the other one being... one being Agility and Strength, the other one being Precision and Luck, and then some other stuff you could put points into. So you don't get pigeonholed into those if you don't want to. But a lot of expertise, like Jedi, Medic, Officer, Commando, etc., they'll have these boxes up here that you need to commit to before you can get into other things. We have 4 options here as an officer. So the 4 that we have in an officer is not the same 4 that other professions may have. You may have other boxes, but we have strength, precision, constitution, and stamina. You technically don't need to put all 4 of your points into one basket. I could put 1 in each if I wanted to be able to get down to the next one. But typically when you're building a character, you want to pick specific stats and pump those as much as possible. This game rewards specialization in PvP and PvE, group PvE, more so than it does being a generalist. The only time being a generalist in this game is particularly useful is if you're doing a lot of solo PvE stuff. if you want to know the short answer of what you should put a point into, it's Constitution. More health, more better. That more health will help you in any situation, and defensively, these other three options that I have aren't really that helpful. Stamina, it being the flip of Constitution, giving me more action than health, but 100 stamina really isn't anything, and in the grand scheme of things, especially at high levels, it's not going to help you fire off much more of any extra abilities. For leveling, it might not be bad. You might be able to, you know, fire off extra abilities in between short combat, but at 90, don't take stamina. Precision will give me more critical chance, strike through chance, and then offensively or defensively, it'll give me a little bit more parry, which is helpful as melee. But 100 precision is only what half a percentage of parry. I don't really think half a percentage parry defensively is more useful than what is it, like 1400 health out of 100 Constitution or something. You also get some block chance though with precision. So there's that. Strength, though, will increase our base melee damage, which is helpful. More block chance, more block value. It'll also increase our to-hit chance, making us a little bit more accurate. That's not a huge deal, though, for PvE. My suggestion, though, is everyone just throw it in con. Unless you have a very specific, unique build you're going for, just put it in Constitution. This goes for anything. Anytime you're given core attributes to boost and Constitution is an option, take con. If you don't have Constitution as an option, but you have stamina, don't take stamina still. Take other ones. Like, I think Medic has, like, Strength, Agility, and Precision as options. Just do that. Like, Commando has, like, Luck, Con, or Luck and Stamina or something. Just take Luck. Don't take Stamina. Luck does other cool things like strike through value, evasion value, etc. For this build that I'm going for, my brain says take con, but I'm memeing, so I'm going to take precision. Don't do this. I know I just gave you advice telling you to do the opposite of this, and then I'm going to do counter. That's because I'm memeing with a thing that's probably not going to be actually that useful, but I just want to try it out. Keep in mind that whatever you commit for expertise isn't permanent. You can always go back and to a profession counselor and reset your expertise. First 5 times are free. After that, it's a very small amount of credits to reset your expertise. And even if you're broke, those will decay over time. But we're going to run down. Once we enter the Skak Tipper base, go to the right, go all the way down to the back, and click this object. These unknown objects are the ones that we're looking for in this quest. And the nest spawn inside someone's blocked house. Well, the house being locked or not wouldn't help you, as you want to be able to attack the enemies. The enemies don't spawn inside, they spawn under. When that happens, just open your data pad, and you'll see the mission in there, and just abandon it. That happens sometimes. Or my favorite, they spawn like in a tree or a large rock, and you just get line of sight errors. Alright, so here we are at the Darkwalker Cave outside Deja Peak. I believe the artifact is to the left in a little cubbyhole. You'll recognize this cave layout from the quest where we had to go retrieve Jabba's ledger. I believe it's in the same cubby. Yep, there it is. Same spot as the ledger. Anyways. There's part number 2. Let's go to... Okay, so we're going to go to Manina Shuttleport. Or Monia Shuttleport, because the artifact is not far from the Shuttleport. Call out the jetpack, and we're going to go right over this way. Yes, I can fly through the bridge. So it puts the waypoint here in front of this guild hall, which you think, oh, it's in the guild hall. No, it's over on the temple opposite of the guild hall. Or I guess kitty corner of the guild hall right here. So don't go in that building. It's not there. All right, let's go to Corinne next, because this one is in Corinne proper. So we're not going to go to the Mauler Stronghold yet. I've got this route planned out now. So this one's going to take us to the Corinne Bank, and the artifact is supposedly in the bank. Again, it's near the bank. This is actually probably the hardest artifact to visually see. It's right here. So if you come to the bank and you're like, where is it? It's in the northwest corner exit of the bank, near like this pillar, which has windows, but there's no door? Do you access this pillar by going underground? What? Architecturally, this makes no sense. Unless there's an underground access. Whatever. Never looked at that before. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop back on my mount, and I'm actually going to go to the east. Can you build a city by yourself? A player city? No. In order to found a city, you first need a planet that has room for player cities, because planets have a limit. And you need at least 3 unique accounts for it to count as an outpost, which is the smallest level city. So you and 2 friends. All right, so I'm going to buy a ticket to... Let's just do this player city. Could also do Theed, but let's try that. Why not? But if you have 2 friends to help you out, and then you meet the citizenship requirement, which I think is 5 or 6 characters and 3 unique accounts on Legends. It's different than live. You can found a city. If you want to know how many cities are currently in existence, the SWG Legends website proper actually has a very useful tab that shows you all the cities on the planet, what rank the cities are, and like if there's any more room. Let me see if I can find it really fast. Here we go. Here is a link. One thing that you'll notice with cities is that some planets like Naboo, Tatooine, Locke, Dantooine and Talos are really competitive compared to like Rory, Corellia. So you might have a bit easier time on some planets than others. Don't get too married to one planet. All right, so here we are at the Mummer base. We're gonna run in, scatter. Gotta go fast. Run all the way down. This one, I believe, is... Yeah, I remember. If you go right, then go left down the hallway, but don't go all the way down like we did in the Skack Tipper base. We take a first left, down here in the storage room, right over here. I'll fuck up and take you to the wrong spot. Then it's in the other storage room. So actually, enter the base, go right, and then go into this big room, but ignore everybody. Just cut across to here, go down the ramp, and it's right here. Haha! At a 50-50, I'm being right on that one. Let's go back up the ramp and go get our last one, which is our favorite base outside Corinne. How do you know if a planet has space for a city? Main adventure or main quest planets, Tatooine, Naboo, and Corellia have a max player city limit of 20. More than 20 cities can't exist on that city, player cities. And then on all the other planets, which are called adventure planets, I believe, those can have up to 50. So Locke, Rory, Talos, Dantooine can all have 50. Naboo, Corellia, and Tatooine can all have 20. And similarly, they can also have a certain amount of rank 4 cities and up, which are shuttle ports. The Tatooine, Naboo, and Corellia can have up to 10 shuttle ports on a planet for player cities. And I believe the cities that planets that are out for 50 cities can have up to 20. You might notice that Rory has the most availability for player planets, but that's because there's a very little topographical room for the structures because of how watery and hilly the planet is. So you might have to look up for a bit to find an eligible plot of land there. Keep also in mind structure restrictions. So like Rory can only house Nabooian and Rory houses. They can't do like Tatooine houses, but it can also house generic. Similarly, Corellia Talos limited those structure types, Tatooine, etc. Dantooine is the most flexible, allowing for Nabooian, Tatooinean, and then generic structures. All right, so we're back here at the Muller base. You're going to see the waypoint in front of the bunker. Don't go in there. That's a trick. Go over here. The artifact is actually on the other side of this building right here. Don't go in the bunker. It's tricking you. All right, so now that we're done collecting the parts, we're going to return to Boss Nass. Here we go. When I was founding my city, our first planet was actually Naboo. And then Naboo was full at the time, and I did some research on the mayors, the cities, how long cities had been there, and suffice to say, I was not getting a spot. No one would even want to sell to me. It's very hard to get a spot on Naboo. Tatooine, you have more turnover in cities. People are more liable to sell a city on Tatooine. Locke, similarly, people maybe sell cities. There's 50 slots, so it's a little bit easier to squeeze in, but still competitive. Talus is, I would say, a little bit less competitive than Locke. And Rory's pretty easy. And even though Corellia only has 20 slots, there's always usually at least like 1 or 2 open. That's kind of how we ended up on Corellia. I actually looked at Rory before Corellia, but at the time, there wasn't a space of land that I liked. There just wasn't enough flat room for a city. Here's Boss Nass. Used to have done it. When all 6 pieces of the artifact number 5. Artifact number 5. I like how the artifacts don't have names. He just numbers them. Sick world building. I now has all 5 artifacts recovered. Okie day done. Thank you. Any luck on the battle droid security? Directly to business. Good. Unfortunately, the Ultra Gungan militia has been awful careful. Misa no yet know how to bypass the security on their droids, but Misa have an idea where to start looking great. What's your idea? You still start by destroying some flawed battle droids in nearby Ultra Gungan camps. Misa might learn something directly from the droids. I'll get right on that. Good. Misa will be in touch if Misa learned any Dean. Man. That's always a joy to try and pronounce. You'll scope the planet, see which one looks cool. If you need help with Rory, or if you need help with any of the planets, I have some old waypoints on my medic of open spots that I found like 2 years ago that might still be open and viable. There's one spot on Rory I didn't make a... That overrode my stim for 10 con. That's bad. We're not going to use that. If you need help finding spots on Rory, I think I have another one that I don't have a waypoint for that would actually be a pretty attractive spot. Flat enough. But alright, so here we are with the Ultra Gungan battle droids. We're just going to beat them up. See, this is the problem, though. We're level 42, and these guys are level 29. So if you're gonna have Ultra Gungan battle droids here, you can go right over here, and there's more. The waypoint's at that area, but it's actually both of these temple ruins. Okay, Deflon battle droid still had the same security measures. I'm done with the Gungan language. As they are fully functional on oh my god, I just can't not now. So they didn't reveal any din new to Austin. Try fighting the powered down battle droids and examine them to see what Yisa can find. It's so hard, man. Okay. Did I click all these? I was clicking them while I was reading that. I was trying to multitask. Yeah, I clicked all of them. All right, so let's run over to here. There should be more, and I think there's more down there. Yeah. The worst thing about fighting droid NPCs is often they don't drop any. They have nothing on their loot table. No credits, no junk parts. Sometimes they will have junk parts, like you saw I got a few, but often they don't guarantee drops like humanoid NPCs when in terms of like credits and stuff, so they're not terribly lucrative. If the junk parts dropped every time, that would offset it, but they don't. Oh shit. Sorry, I exited out of that too fast. It said... I don't know what it said. My bad. I can go back and like pause it because it's up for a frame, and then I'll just persist it on there. All right, so we're back at Boss Nass after examining the droids and beating them up. The droids themselves didn't reveal any din. Perhaps can Ultra Gungan foot soldier can enlighten us, and you want me to attack Ultra Gungan foot soldiers? Yin, that's right. Off you go. Okay. He's so blasé. He's like, I'm like, you want me to go murder Gungans? He's like, yeah, go for it. Someone else questing. Probably. Also, we leveled up to 43. Yay. I'm gonna ignore the show fans. You guys gonna... Yep, okay. Wow, these guys are level 40. You're stronger than the quest NPCs. But I'm still gonna dumpster you. That guy's in a tree. These are all the Ultra Gungans we saw earlier. For a second, I thought we were further away from here than I thought. I'm like, wait, why are there so many Ultra Gungans here? Oh, so look, they're all foot soldiers. You guys want to do something really good? Activate charge. Core bomb, go! This looked like a dense part. This is where a commando would probably chew through these a bit faster, having more grenades accessible to them. Me only having core bomb. I could have another AoE at this point if I went down the first skill tree first, but it's not a huge area of effect. Good damage. Alright, now you're getting somewhere. One of the foot soldiers let slip that the self-destruct security mechanism is bypassed using a password. Now you just need to find that password. Ultra Gun and Joy Text would be a good place to start. They are over here, it seems. What's up, guys? These guys were green when we were here earlier, but our recent level up put us outside that level range, which seems to be about 12 for most of your levels. Once you get to 90, the level range becomes 15. So anything down to 75, it will appear green for you, I believe. While leveling up, it seems like the range is 12, plus or minus. I need to double check. I don't think I can use a new blade yet, right? I don't remember last time we upgraded our melee weapon. Oh, we can. 42. Yes. Crafting all these weapons, even though very easy, I have to craft them all by hand. So, you know, gotta sit there and make a bunch of cores, sit there and make a bunch of... Because, like, the way crafting is when you make a weapon core, that determines the weapon's level. So if I want, you know, one every 8 levels, I have to make a weapon core for every 8 levels. I can't just make a weapon core and then set the level on the final craft. Okay, so we found the password, and apparently if you mount in here, you get stuck, so let me just go out this way. Boss Nass says, it was foolish to think the droid text would reveal anything, but they spark in a drought. Okay. Find the toolkit using by the droid text, and Misa bet we find the password, which is what I went and clicked, and now we go back to Boss Nass. Good, Yusa brought the droid tech tools. Yes, here they are. Okay. Awful good. Let me Misa see. Yusa... Fuck. Yeah. As Misa suspecting the password being encoded into the toolkit. A major oversight, to be honest. But it works to our advantage. Yusa should now be able to extract the module Yusa want from the Old Republic battle droid. Without worry. Okay. So I'm coming over this bunker that had nothing in it. Oh no, look, there's foot soldiers. I'm just gonna ignore him. I think the droid's all the way at the bottom. Yeah, we gotta beat this battle droid up. Oh, sure shot didn't fire. I'm like, he's not dead? Alright, now we're done. All of that driving around and slaying was just for this. Please return to the RSF mainframe and feed. Alright, here we go. Here's the security computer. We'll work on droid models, update information acquisition of a droid module, updating database, complete, return droid model page. 5, update all droid modules acquired. Updating, database complete, end session. Now we gotta go back to Kadara, but we have someone looking to make a call. What could they want? Alright, well done. You've collected the droid modules and, more importantly, kept them out of the corrupt hands of the Empire. Bring them to me in Kadara. So we're going back to our rebel contact who we met all at the beginning of the Debuian segment of the Legacy quest. So we'll go back and speak with him. Here's Special Agent Wilson. Do you have all the droid, do you have the droid AI, all 4 parts of it? I do, I have it all. Oh, well done, very well done. Please turn it over to me at once. I must leave this plan and get it to our research base immediately. Hand over the AI. Thank you. You have done the right thing. The galaxy will be free from tyranny, and this seemingly small choice in your part would potentially pave the way. And then we get the model of Bothawai. Yay! And then someone's calling me. And I leveled up to 44. Wow, we're still netting levels, even though we're definitely not getting XP from the things that we're defeating. Colonel Panaka back. If you're looking for more work, I thought you might be interested in speaking with a colleague of mine on Corellia. His name is Lieutenant Jasper, and he works for the Corellian Security Force. Go speak with him. So this is now, working for CorSec is the start of the Corellian Legacy quest, which you'll notice if you go into your journal and check it out. It's level 30. We're 44. We're a little bit over it. So that's why when I said earlier, by the end of Naboo, if you really wanted to, you could just go to Kashyyyk. Like, I am at level to go do the Edie hunting grounds, actually. We're not going to do that, though. What we're going to do is we're going to first commit this expertise point to precision. Yay, very boring. And we're actually going to start piloting. All right, so we're here in Coronet on Corellia, left Naboo. One thing that I want to mention is, so for finishing the Nabooian Legacy quest, you get an item called the Medal of Bothawai. This item is a necklace that hilariously has a required level to equip of 1 for some reason, but it gives you 8 in every basic stat, compared to our current necklace of just 9 in strength. That's a pretty good upgrade, so we're going to equip that, and we'll buy a link and put it on. We'll get another necklace, I believe, at the end of the Corellia Legacy quest, or sometime during it. But we are here on Coronet because out of all 9 piloting trainers we can start with, I'm deciding to start with CorSec. CorSec has a neutral affiliation. You can consider them the true neutral of pilots, as they don't favor either the Rebels or the Empire. And I am going with them because I've never done CorSec pilot training before. Typically, I lean towards Smuggler Alliance or Havoc Squadron of Rebel. So I want to do somebody new. The other neutral pilot I could have gone to is Rebel Security Forces, which is on Naboo, but they lean Imperial, and as a Rebel, that doesn't fly with me. The first thing you want to do before you go to any of your pilot trainers, though, is go get an Entertainer buff and get Flush with Success. The experience bonus from Flush with Success applies to Space XP, so you want to have that on. But here we are with Sergeant Rhea. He'll be the start of our piloting journey with CorSec. We'll have multiple trainers over our time, but he'll be the first. Hello, come to join the ranks of CorSec. Yes. We don't just let anyone in. There will be a background check, of course. Of course. This will only take a moment. You've got a pretty clean record here. I can assure you that it will improve once you're flying for CorSec. Are you ready to begin? Yes, I am. You've successfully trained in the basic pilot skill. So now if you open up your profession window, you'll see that you have the tab for space. If you click on that, you can see all the space ranks. We are a neutral pilot, so we'll be having access to privateer ships. So these ships include the Dune Lizard, Ixion, a lot of the ships that we were seeing when we were flying around Tansari space. If you're a Rebel, you get Rebel ships, Imperial ships. Indeed, do you have your own ship? Yes, I do. If we did not have our own ship, which we can view right here in our data pad, he would give us a ship. He would actually give us the Sick Light Fighter again, except it'd be called like the prototype Sick instead of Sick Light Fighter. It's the same ship, though. Don't worry about it. Well, then, I think that about does it. Are you ready for your first assignment? Yes, I am. All right, we gotta go to Corellia Space and patrol. Your first assignment is to run a simple patrol. From time to time, pirates move into the area and harass merchants in our system. Just run this simple patrol and make sure there's no criminal activity going on. All right, so I didn't start with my controller plugged in. So if you have a peripheral that you use to fly in space, joystick, controller, etc., and you plug it in after booting the game up, if you open your options and go down to controls, you'll find a button at the bottom called Find Controllers. Click that, and you'll get a message that says I found a controller. And of course, you test out, make sure, yep, all good. So in Tansari Point Station, we did the space missions, and there I explained a lot about space and the basics of binding items and such. I'm not going to go over that again. I'm going to go over some other new information. So if you need information about getting started in space in terms of key binding, tutorials, etc., go back and check that video on YouTube. Also, sup, Captain Camo, how are you doing? Happy Sunday. Instead, on our long 10,000 meter drive out here, I'm going to be explaining first why I picked CorSec. I picked CorSec because I haven't done them before, and they're not opposed to the Rebel faction. I could have also done Royal Guard, which are Imperial leaning, as I mentioned, or I could do Smuggler's Alliance, which was that flight trainer in the back of the Mos Eisley Cantina, and they lean Rebel. My recommendation for new pilots is actually to start with the Smuggler's Alliance. The Smuggler's Alliance, unless you're opposed to Rebel, the Smuggler's Alliance, I believe, is known to have the easiest space missions, as some of these space trainer missions can get quite difficult, and you do have to do them. The way you level up in space is two ways. One, you have to complete required space missions from your pilot coordinator, and two, you need to get XP. So if I open my profession again, go over to the space tab. If I hover over this, you'll see how much space XP I have, which right now is 0. I need to meet a certain amount of experience to rank up, but my pilot trainer won't train me in those boxes until I've completed their prerequisite quests. This applies throughout your entire space experience, up until your last box. Once you get to your flight artistry box, your last one, you actually don't need to fill the XP, you just need to do the space missions, which is great because that takes a lot of XP. So you're going to be seeing a mixture of me going out doing space missions for a while and then switching to go get XP, which I'll explain the best way to get experience once we get to that point. But for now, we're going to be focusing on doing space here. As I stated earlier, there are 9 pilot trainers in the game, 3 for Rebel, 3 for unaligned or neutral, which are called Privateer, and there are 3 for Imperial. To my knowledge, the hardest piloting missions, I believe, are Imperial, with Rebels also being difficult. The Imperial ones might have gotten easier because there's been some updates on Legends to let Imperial players use different ships earlier. Part of the reason Imperials were so difficult because of the ship types you had access to. Rebels can also get quite difficult. I would definitely say Havoc Squadron, which I've done a few times, is much more difficult than Smuggler's Alliance. Smuggler Alliance, again, I would say is probably the easiest overall. I'm not sure how difficult CorSec or Royal Security Forces are. I have not heard much about them, so I don't think they're too difficult. You and your guildies do gunboats? Sick. Yeah, I have some players that I know that will sometimes hit up gunboats for space invasions occasionally. They usually show up, though, in their own fighters. I do have some gunboats of my own, but I've never gotten every seat filled. Also, you can tell that I was able to give that entire speech, and we're not even there yet. This is why a lot of players get turned off in space. The starter ship is very slow, and they make it a very long journey from point A to point B. And remember, this is Patrol. This is the first waypoint in a series of waypoints we're going to have to go to. So the beginning of space is going to be pretty slow. I can get people to show up for, like, heroics or dungeons more often than I could get them to show up for space stuff. I just think the space part of this game, because it's so different, it's harder to get people to show up for it. Because it's literally a flight sim inside another game. Like, it's almost an entirely different... It's basically an entirely different game, so... And space doesn't do a great job of onboarding the player. And this isn't very fun, is it? Just sitting and waiting for, like, 5 minutes to get out of here. Oh, okay. So that's our first one. We gotta go over to the next one. Your beginning space missions will basically be introducing all the 3 types of space missions we'll be experiencing throughout the game, which is Patrol, Escort, and then Search and Destroy. And then, of course, there's some variations on that where you'll patrol and get ambushed, escort, then get ambushed afterwards. Sometimes you'll patrol and nothing will happen. That's just how it goes. Now, I am doing space here in my leveling journey after Naboo Legacy, because Corellia has more opportunities to do space stuff within the Legacy quest. Naboo had the one opportunity with the Royal Security Force, and I believe maybe there's another part. But generally, it's mostly ground stuff for Naboo. Tatooine is exclusively ground stuff, unless you go out of your way to join the Smugglers Alliance and get access to Jabba's throne room a little bit earlier and skip some of Jabba's theme park. The other reason is that after we finish the Legacy quests, we're going to be going to Kashyyyk. And while I mentioned that right now at level 44, we could actually go to Kashyyyk and go into the 80 hunting grounds, there's a prerequisite quest that involves space, and doing that prerequisite quest at a tier under, man, even just tier 2, is quite difficult to do in the starter ship. So before going to Kashyyyk, it's smart to get at least some space done. You don't need to go out of your way and get ace done like I am. But during this leveling journey, for a little bit of variety, I'm going to be scattering some notable side missions that are space-oriented into the journey. Side missions that have notable, interesting rewards to get. Not just like, hey, want to go see me shoot a couple ships? No? Okay. So we destroyed the enemies, and we have to go land. Now, the space station is over there. Actually, not too far away. While we go, there's a few ways that we can get there quicker. So first one is if you open your escape menu, you see this option for home port. That'll actually hyperspace you from wherever you are in space to back where you launch from. So say I launched from Coronet, and my mission took me to Talus space. Well, that's a bad example. There's shared space regions. My mission took me to Dathomir space, and I finished the quest. He's like, come back. If I open my menu, click home port, I'll hyperspace from Dathomir space to the ground spot on Coronet where I launched from. The other fastest way to get around, which is I'm just going to do right now anyways, which let me move my window out, is you enter the command /ESC, yes. And then we blow up. So we launched our escape pod. That's short for escape pod, yes. And what that does is two things. First of all, it will instantly tow us to the closest space station in the sector that we're currently in, which is this space station, the Corellia one, I believe. So we're already back here. We didn't have to fly that whole way. And, oh, actually, it took us to Talus. Great. So this was actually slower. Like I said, Talus space is shared by Corellia space, but that's okay. We'll land on Talus. It'll take us immediately to a space station. And second of all, it will completely repair our ship. So if we sustain any damage during that conflict, we'll actually get a repair for free, no cost. So you'll see a lot of players using this very frequently in the game. The only time that you don't want to be using the escape pod is if you're in the middle of a mission. If you use the escape pod during a mission, you will fail it. So you saw that a lot in Tansaria Point Space when I was flying. I had to fly back to the space station to actually complete the quest before landing. If I used escape pod while I was out there in the middle of nowhere, I would have failed the mission. I would have had to redo it. If I escape podded during that patrol mission, I would have failed the mission and had to land and restart it. So you only want to take the escape pod if you know for a fact the mission is done. Similarly, if you leave a space sector that a mission is in, you'll fail it. So if I launched a Coronet space, had a Coronet space mission hypered to Kashyyyk space, I would have failed it. So Sergeant Rio congratulated us on a good job. So you were ambushed as you ran that patrol. We need to hit them hard to send a message, make an example out of them. I'm going to send you in and run that scum out of the system. I am uploading some possible waypoints into your new computer. Excuse me. Destroy any Black Sun you find. Are you going to train me after this? Not just yet, Vum. I have a few more things for you to do before you get any training from me. And apparently my character found that really funny. So we're going to head back to the starport and we're just going to launch up. Some of you might ask, why have you not color changed your jetpack? The jetpacks do not have a palette that you can change the color on. So your jetpack colors are kind of stuck. I'm hoping that they add a jetpack to the game similar to the jetpacks that you see like in the Mandalorian show or in the Clone Wars animated show, where they're a little bit cleaner, flat palette, and you can actually adjust the colors a little bit more. That'd be fun. All right, so we have 5 target locations. 4 of them are over 10,000 meters, 12,000 meters away. So we're just going to go to the closest one and hope that that's the right one, because I don't want to really... Man, did they stick this in every corner of the system? Jesus. Again, this is why players get turned off of space. I can't use a different ship yet. I am stuck with this ship until I get my first level of training, which even once I get the Dune Lizard, I can't put any new parts into it until I get the next level of certification training. So it'll just be the same ship parts, but in a different chassis. So we're going to stick with this ship until we get certification for higher level parts, which should come immediately after unlocking the Dune Lizard chassis. So interestingly, this quest says areas of Black Sun activity 0 out of 4. Maybe these are just options that I can fly to, and I don't have to go to all 5 of them, and I just have to destroy 4 Black Sun. Which, if that's the case, there's 4 right in front of me. And that'd be ideal. If I have to drive all around this system in a sick, I'm gonna get sick of space really fast. Wink. I swear space gets better after we level up. I promise, everybody. I'm not even the biggest fan of space. Real talk. But I'll give it that, man. It definitely gets way better after you get just even the first level of parts. Like, our ship speed's gonna, like, at least, like, get a 50% bonus to the base speed or something. And I'll give you some tips on buying ship parts and what ship you should get and etc. once we level up. But for now, let's just focus on leveling up. You love the X-Wing? Yeah, the Advanced X-Wing especially is really good. You can fit some really good ship parts. The Advanced X-Wing is not only good for PvE, it's also very good for PvP. There's some unique builds. You do need to be careful with it, though. It's a little bit bigger and slower than Interceptors. But you can fit some missiles in that sucker and some pretty nasty weapons, which makes it fun. All right, we got to be careful. These guys actually hurting my front shields. I've never flown Imperial. I don't really have an opinion on Imperial ships outside of the stats that I can see on the wiki pages. I know from fighting against Imperials, the Royal Guard Interceptor is still pretty sick. Oh god, I still have no chaff. I am fighting Black Sun, right? Yeah. We want to get rid of these bombers. The TIE Defender is really good. The TIE Oppressor is really good. The Advanced X-Wing's pretty good. I should probably put some roll in these turns, huh? These guys are a little bit more dangerous than the Tansari counterparts, which makes sense. Okay, search and destroy Black Sun Pirates. I believe we're done. I wait for a few moments, and we are. So let's just type her to ground. That way we don't get pulled to the Talus station again. Can you run programs? Not at this flight level. I am a starter pilot. You won't be able to even use a droid interface until you get a few levels of training, and even then, I think I'm pretty limited on what I can use in terms of abilities. I could build a flight computer probably for this character. I probably will later. Let me look. Hold on. Yeah, so I'll be able to throw a droid computer in, but Astromech certification level 2 is not to that stage, so I'll be a little limited, I think, on the flight computer, because I think flight computer is tied to Astromech certification. I don't remember for sure. Sorry, I'm not a space expert. Like I said, my knowledge in space is probably intermediate. I'm somewhere like slightly above average. But in order to use droid commands, you need to purchase an astromech droid or a flight computer, and then you need to program it. All right, back with Sergeant Rhea. Excellent job taking out those pirates. No doubt this won't be the end of them. What's next? Just to be sure that's the last of them, we need you to run another patrol. It's a little longer than the last one. Please no. But you already know how crafty those criminals can be. Are you going to train me after this? Almost, Bum. I just have a couple more things for you to take care of before you can be trained further, starting with that patrol. Okay. So, droid programs in space are basically like buffs to your ship, you can kind of say. When you run a program, it's usually trading one thing for another. So, like, for example, you can run a program to overload your reactor, and then more reactor power will allow you to overload your engines. And then you can also overload your weapons and your capacitor. And so what that does is it makes your ship faster, it gives you more weapon energy to fire with, and it makes your weapons stronger. But those are limited to higher levels. We can definitely get into doing that in a couple of levels, but right now we can't do anything with it. We are stuck with no droid programs and a low-level ship. For the Smugglers Alliance piloting, I actually get to ace without ever using a flight computer. Flight computers are more of an optional thing for me when I'm doing that. If you're running one of the harder quest lines, like the Imperial pilot trainers, you'll probably want to invest in a flight computer appropriate for your level if you're having trouble completing some of the missions. That or ask someone to come help you. Can you still jump in your ship from the ground? If you're referring to atmospheric flight, no. Atmospheric flight was enabled at the end of the game's lifespan for a few months before it was closed as a like sending off feature, but Legends has not re-implemented it. And the developers have stated that they have no intention of re-implementing atmospheric flight in the way that it was implemented on live. That's not saying that they'll never do it, but they have no intention of doing it the same that live did it. I don't know the exact reasoning, but I could assume that it was partially due to atmospheric flight, one causing heck problems in PvP, and two being obnoxious in player hubs in general, and three kind of limiting the need for overland travel. Because if you could just hop in your ship and fly across the planet, that's going to be way faster than, you know, hopping on your swoop. If you're referring to instant travel vehicles, the ones that just teleport you to like shuttle ports or starports from the wild, yeah, that's still around. I say that because when I was playing the game the other day, a player asked me, how do I call my ship to travel with? I'm like, no, it's a separate ability. I'm like, oh, okay, I thought it was just having a ship. I'm like, no. It's a separate command. There may be emulators that do have atmospheric flight re-enabled, but I'm not aware of any. Most people consider that feature a bane rather than a boon. It was cool, but kind of was a pain for the rest of the game. For those who don't know, when it was implemented in live, it was usable anywhere on a planet, including PvP zones. So a lot of the time, people would start PvPing in Restus, and then someone would fly up the ship and just strafing run people, and yes, it would hit and do damage. So, all right, we gotta go. Let's see, we've received a distress call from a freighter. He's being chased by pirates. Help him out immediately. And I move the waypoint 5,000 meters out. Here we go. This is the Tattle space station. Make it hit the Jedi Village in no time. Yeah, I mean, it was cool, but it kind of circumvented a lot of intended game mechanics and just totally stomped on others. I think if they were to re-implement atmospheric flight, it would have to be in a planet specifically designed for it. Not just like, yeah, sure, flip that shit on. You know what I mean? Yeah, so back in July, I actually mentioned this in my back in June. I actually go over this in the June 2023 update. They moved a lot of claim rewards behind quests. So yeah, the Bark is now behind one of Watto's quests. The Desert Skiff is behind Jabba's theme park. The ATRT is behind the Kadara section of the RSF Legacy quest. They did that to better reward players who were actually doing the content, specifically new players, and also to de-incentivize people from making accounts, letting them age up, claim their rewards, then delete them for the one-time items and sell for credits. So it de-incentivized that account dumping system and rewarded people actually playing the game. But yeah, so that was back in June 2023. Part of the reason that I wanted to do 190, a very small reason, was I wanted to figure out where all these are. A lot of them have been found, but I don't know if all of them have. Like, I don't know where the Fractal is, unless that's still just a one-time account claim thing, and I just can't see it again. But I didn't see it on the test server when I made a test character, so that's why I'm like, where is it? I know the Legends Wiki's been updated with a lot of those rewards. I don't know if it's been all of them, because the devs didn't tell everyone where they were. They just was like, go find them, which is fine. I think that's a good way to do it. I think moving those items behind quests was good. So just to remind everybody, if you ever have to follow a target, if you target it and then hit the F key by default, you can just follow it. So I'm not having to actively apply it, but that's why you see my speed jumping up and down. It's trying to compensate to match a distance. That's not me. That's just how follow works in this game. There's also M to match speed. What I didn't realize until I made this character was that they updated the Rebel Assault armor with more color palettes. Like, the chest that I'm wearing on this character is actually colored brown. And it's just normal Rebel Assault armor chest. Which is comedically, you can also dye it the same gray that the Rebel Spec Forces armor is. So that reward's kind of redundant. All right, so here's some Black Sun fighters coming in. Are they all Kirax? They are. Just making sure that none of these guys had missiles on them. You want to try and defeat the ones that have missiles first. Those are the more dangerous ones in PvE. The ones that are just light fighters can be more annoying because they're generally more agile, but they don't have missiles, so. And also, they might be a little bit harder to defeat sometimes. These guys aren't particularly agile, so they're not too bad. But typically, the smaller, faster ones will take you longer to kill just by merit of having to chase them down more. So I just, trying not to shoot the other CorSec officers, but they're making it really hard. But yeah, the missiles are more dangerous, especially in these escort missions, where they can just sit there and keep firing tubes at a slow-moving target. They have corrected the color, though, on the normal Rebel outfits, and they corrected the design of the Stormtrooper outfits, so those are more in line with lore. They also added the blaster holsters to the belt of the Stormtrooper armor, so they actually have the holster for their blasters correctly. It's kind of weird to think about. Those Rebel Marine helmets, for people who don't know what I'm talking about still, it's the helmets that you see at the beginning of episode 4 when they're boarding the Corvette, Leia's Corvette. All those Rebel guards are wearing those big white and black helmets. The shape of those helmets is basically the same shape as the Imperial engineers on the Death Star. The guys who have those black helmets within the visors and the bottoms, who fire, like you see during the charge up and firing sequence of the Death Star, also in episode 4. It's literally the same helmet, this painted black, and they added a visor and a bottom part to it. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they used the same mold for both when making those outfits, or props. That's what I would have done if I was the prop person. I was like, okay, you want another, like, egg-shaped head thing? Well, I already got this mold, might as well just reuse it. Why make a new one? This has become the ultimate just chatting stream as I do the slowest space missions in the existence of the game. You think B-Wing flight suit is still missing from the Rebel theme park? Was it in the theme park originally? I don't remember. I know they re-added some flight suits to other places of the game, but I don't know specifically for B-Wing. Okay, these guys have gotten into a fight with CorSec pilots, so we're probably gonna have to chase some of those guys down. I mean, I remember it wasn't that long ago since I did Tansari, so I remember how slow the ship is with turning, but damn. Because I went and did the Nova Riot missions since then and finished that theme park again for the second time. So, doing this again is kind of ass. Or reliving this sucks. It was a reward. I did the Rebel theme park on Legends a few times. Definitely did not get the B-Wing outfit, so I know for a fact they haven't re-added it yet. Again, though, they might re-add it as a different reward. You still get the Rebel banner by finishing the theme park, the standing one. And you still get the Weapons Toolsmith Bandolier schematic, which isn't useful in this iteration of the game. And more importantly, you get the Covert Backpack schematic, which is useful in this game, as it does give a good amount of camouflage in the backpack slot. So some spies, if they really want to squeeze camo in somewhere else, they could there. It's still probably better to take like the Tusken rucksack, the Republic Commando backpack, the Ace packs, and that slot, as that this gives you more stats than that would. But if you really want camo and don't want to put it on your attachments, that's an option, I guess. I think it gives like 25 camo or something. But yeah, other than that, the theme parks rewards are kind of whatever. I mean, I like the Rebel banner. Yay, we did it. That took a while. I'm trying not to look at the clock while I'm doing these missions, because like I really don't want to. I don't want to know how long this is taking me to complete some of these. Now, I could fly back to the Corellia space station, but honestly, Hypering to Gatling was probably faster. I know I was flexing on the escape pod method, but considering last time I did, it took me to Talus space station. I'll just home port. All right, back with Sergeant Rhea. Excellent work with that escort. It's a good thing you were running that patrol, or there's no telling that what might have happened to them. I've got a little something extra for you, too. It's a mercenary bandolier. It'll help you keep your things organized. What's next? Enough of this. Every time we send you out, you find more pirates. We need to go straight to the source of the problem, their leader. I know you're up for this. Go find the pirate's leader and take him out. Let the rest of them go to the outer rim if they want easy prey. Are you going to train me after this? Tell you what, Vum. Kill that pirate leader, and yes, I will train you. I guess that's just the running gag here. How about now? Will you train me now? So, no matter what piloting faction you join, you will get a mercenary bandolier. It occupies your backpack slot. It doesn't give you any stats, but it holds 50 items. So if you haven't gotten a backpack from your profession yet, that is an option. Like if you just make a character and go pilot immediately, that is a choice. All right, back to the Corellia system. Here we go. All right, gotta wait for the waypoint to show up. 5,000 meters away over there, and they're moving. Where's the leader? Guess it's that one. Yeah, there's eliminators and enforcers. We gotta take out the eliminator. All right, so we're here. These guys are trying to meet us. I'm just gonna disable this guy. He's a tier 2. That's a little spicy. He's a light fighter though, so at least he won't have big damage. But we're gonna try and comp his engine, cause yeah, he's annoyingly agile. We're gonna try and ignore those dune lizards for as long as I can. Okay, we're through shields, eating that armor up. Yeah, see, tier 2s versus the starting ship, kind of rough. We'll be eating tier 2s alive once we get next rank of certification, but for now, they're going to be a little bit on the chunkier side here. Luckily, the base stats on this chassis seem okay, so turning's not too bad. Okay, there we go. Steel lizards are flying away from us. Let's slow down. Now we just lay into them. Sick. Ah, that'll show those thugs that CorSec's not to be trifled with. You're really going to go places in this organization. Can tell already. What do I do now? You are definitely ready to move up, so I'll tell you what. I'll teach you about basic fighters. That sounds great. Excellent. Review the information regarding your new skills and report back. So now if I open up my profession, go to space, you'll see that I have basic fighters trained. So I can use the Dune Lizard, but it's not too helpful since I can't use any ship stuff yet. So if I talk to him again. Now, because we don't have enough experience to unlock the next box, but we've completed all his required quests, he's offering us to go do space missions. These are the same missions that you're going to get from every flight trainer, to scale differently. You can either go do a duty mission, which the duty missions that you have options from is like escort missions, patrols, or just slaying. The slaying ones are easiest. You can just go up to the space station, ask for those, and that's the normal way to level. I'd say launch, go to a space station, ask for duty missions, and slam those out. That's probably what I'm going to go do here really fast, because I only need... Well, actually, no, we're going to do the other method. If you're doing solo, this is the main way to do it. But we're going to log in my other character here, and then we're going to get into that. So give me a second. Have a lower level supply drop's been worth using while leveling? Yes. So I can actually call one in really fast and show you exactly what's in it. I say yes hesitantly. So we'll call that in while I get my other character situated here. Or is it? Yes! Clip through the building! Alright, so the lower level supply is you get these 2 stim packs that heal 700. You also get a random field stim pack. This one's now 44. The one I got earlier was 30. So I guess that's an improvement. And you'll be like, oh, that scales with level. No, it's random. Sometimes I get one I can use and sometimes I don't. So I'll take that. The frag grenades are really bad, but at low level, when you have no other AoE as an officer, it's better than nothing. This serum is level 44. Okay, so I get the better tack. The tack that I got earlier was this one, the B. And, you know, it's not bad. So, like, if I use this, the buff the B gives me is 75 Constitution and 5 crit. So, you know, they're not useless. I'd recommend calling them in. But, like, these items, they're just food. And they would take in your food slots, I believe, and they're bad. I just junk deal them for money. The rest I'm just not going to pick up because I don't care. What I do for getting XP, and what I would recommend people do if they have a friend who can help them out, is actually just get someone who's already an ace to go help you kill higher level pilots. So the classic use here is you want to get a ship that can hold another player. Do I have the prototype blaster on me? I do. So I'm actually gonna take my crate because I'm also neutral pilot, and I'm gonna go modify the ship here, and I'm gonna take out the tube because I need to make room. I'm gonna unload my tube, and I'm gonna load in my topside turret slot weapon 2, the prototype weapon. That way someone can occupy the slot. And what I do is I'm gonna invite Vum, and then I'm gonna launch with her. And then what she is she's just gonna sit here. Looks like she got some cool drift going on. That's great. I think I could stop that though with if I turn off gimbal or something. I don't know. This is like a bug that happens, and I don't know why. I think it's because of the controller input. It's fine. She's not going to be shooting, and you won't be seeing her. So we'll just worry about Aki. So the classic leveling spot to go to is you go to Kashyyyk and hyper to the Avatar ship platform. And while we do that, I'm going to run my droid programs here. Are there still people in Isley advertising space grinding? So for Jen's question, there are sometimes you'll see people in the Isley starport shouting, send me an invite, hyper to this place in space, dock with this ship. Usually there are. I haven't noticed one recently, but also I haven't looked too hard. I've actually muted some of them because some of them were really bad about spamming Isley. Like, way too much. So, yeah, you can do that. That's how I started. I actually just got in someone else's POB and then went from there. Oh, right. I need to... This is a different client, so I gotta... There we go. Okay. So the classic leveling spot is you come out here to Avatar platform, and then you look around, and then... I think you have to go this way. I don't have a waypoint on this character, I think. If I had a waypoint, that'd probably be useful. No. That's alright, we'll find it. It's on the other side. Also, you can see my speed. How much faster I am. Okay, so see all these black scale ships out here? They just keep spawning in pretty frequently. They just loop around. So the classic leveling strategy is you just come out here and you just blast a couple of these out of the sky. And the character in your ship doesn't need to participate in combat to get XP. They just need to be here. So we're just going to blast a couple of these until we get enough XP. Man, this ship is so much faster compared to the starter ship. I'm actually having a hard time flying it right now. I keep thinking I'm in the sick light fighter. This is actually kind of disturbing. I'm a little perturbed. These guys are all tier 3, by the way, which is why they're just detonating. The other option, which you'll see me doing later when we need more XP than this, is I usually take on duty missions, like tier 4 or tier 5. I could do high tier duty, but that does take a long time, and I'm just there for the XP, man. I don't care about loot. So I do tier 4 or tier 5, and then I'll squeeze out XP that way. You'll probably see me doing that a lot once we get to the higher ranges. But this should cap out our XP pretty fast. The nice thing too is all these ships are pretty much, they're all neutral, so they'll never, like, gang up on you. So if you're not an ace and you're out here, you don't have to worry too much about it. But yeah, sometimes you'll see POBs parked out here, like a YT or Nebulon, or sometimes even big gunships. And you can just sit in their turrets, and they'll be parked in a way where these NPCs patrolling will go, like, right over or right below them. And you can just, like, the turrets in those ships are so strong, they'll one-hit kill these things. And you just farm XP that way. The reason people post up their ships for that service is because all of the loot you get goes into the ship's loot container, which can only be accessed by people who are admin on that ship when it's a POB. And so basically that player will come back every once in a while, empty the loot container, sell the loot for credits, and yada, yada, yada. Yeah, they park, like, right on the spawn point for these ships. I don't see one here right now, so I don't think anyone's doing it at the moment, but it's not too uncommon to find somebody. You can see some ships zipping by really fast while I'm doing this. Those are the ships respawning. They have a pretty short spawn timer, which is why the spot's so effective to farm. Like, I could bring my POB out here, park at the spawn point, and then sit in the turret and shoot, but we're not going to be here for that long. And honestly, it's probably faster if I just chase him down rather than sit and wait. Alright, let's check Vum's XP. So, if I open the profession... she's capped at 60k already. So you can see I was only here for a few minutes, and we're already, like, done. So we're going to hyper back to ground. When people talk about leveling to ace, and you're not super familiar with space, don't mean to rhyme, it's a little bit... People are like, man, that's a lot of experience. When you have players helping you like this, the experience isn't the problem. It takes longer doing the quests than it does to get the experience. Alright, so when we talk to him, he's just basically like, hey, good job, I'll train you the next one. You got XP. Listen, something important has come up. The captain wants to speak to you right away. Go speak with Captain Rika in the next room. I think they're back here. You're here for work now. Yes, yes, I am. Good, choose an assignment. Destroy duty, escort duty. Oh, cavalry duty? I need more XP. I need more XP. Let's go get more XP. I never turned on my officer buffs when we were questing earlier, but it didn't matter. Like, let me check her XP. I'm just gonna try and cap it again. Yeah, that's capped. Cool. I keep doing that instead of home port. Alright, back with the captain. You done an excellent job for me, Vum. I can see that you're ready for some training. So you can see that he gave us those missions to do, and I said no, basically, and I just went and got XP, and now he will train us. Let's see, Zayo be talking about advanced starfighters. Let's do it. Good choice. No doubt that will come in handy for this next assignment. We want you to disrupt operations for Nim in his home system. Go destroy a spacecraft under his control. Why Nim? Because although he's not the worst pirate in the world, he does a fair bit of smuggling, piracy, and assorted other criminal acts. If we're going to have to tangle with his thugs, we'd rather do it on his own turf. Okay. So, looking at our ship progress now, we've got through advanced starfighters. I could get a Kimagil or a Karax if I want, but we're going to stick with the Dune Lizard. But you see that these boxes we got more ship certification. For those are the level of parts we can use. We can use up to 3 now. This one we can use up to... We can now use emergency thrust as an ability, and we can actually use some basic astromech and flight computer stuff. But we're not going to worry about that right now. What we're going to worry about is assembling our light fighter. So I'm going to call my storage droid Jojo out, as I got some appropriate level ship parts earlier. And we're just going to grab all of these parts. So if you're leveling a neutral pilot like me, the first ship chassis that you'll get is the Dune Lizard. It comes in a few styles. This one is style 1. But the style really doesn't matter. They still have the same stats, with the max chassis mass capacity being 160k. The Dune Lizard allows for 2 weapon slots, and I believe countermeasures. I don't remember if it's a torpedo. We'll look. But basically, you can take the ship all the way to ace. If you want to use another ship while leveling to ace as a neutral pilot, the Kimagilla is an option. The Ixian's pretty good. If you want more tubes, you'd be a little bit slower. The Rick, that one's all right too. There's some other ships in here that are really good, but they're harder to get. But basically, yeah, heavy starter ships are good for a long time. Dune Lizard's a medium, but we're gonna rock the Dune Lizard. So now I added it to my control device, which I have it right here. And if you're wondering how to get a chassis for a new ship, you gotta go to the bazaar, look up chassis, and buy them from a crafter. Now, in terms of ship parts, what you want to load is crafted ship parts are going to be the best until you're ace, basically. And they're pretty affordable. So if you're looking for Level 3 ship parts generally going to be called Mark II, so you can search Mark II. And then if you find a crafter who's selling them, they'll usually stock the whole thing. So, for example, here, Stoli crafted this. Stoli runs a shop that I believe is still on Rory. And they'll just sell all the parts to you. They'll Mark II, Mark III, Mark IV, etc. So I'm going to be loading these Mark IIs into the ship, and to do that, open the Starship Journal. We click on the Dune Lizard here. We do Manage, and then we're just going to start loading parts. So we got the reactor, which gives us our energy, engine that lets us move, shield, which protects us. You could skip armor if you're trying to really save some credits, but just get some cheap armor. Gonna throw in a capacitor in there, booster because it's got to go fast. I'll throw in a droid interface, even though we don't have any droid to command right now. For the weapon, we're going to be just using these mid-grade blasters. For the ordnance, we don't have a missile launcher, but I do have chaff, and we're going to throw the chaff in there because the chaff will prevent us from getting shot. I don't know if the chaff actually got loaded. I don't know why, but loading chaff and ordnance is a pain in the ass sometimes. There we go. That time it worked. All right, so now this is good to go. Let's launch it. You think you should do the heavy Z95 and you got the heavy X-Wing? Yeah, that's a really great path on the Rebel side. You could take the heavy all the way to Ace. Apparently I didn't load a front armor correctly. That's fine. We'll be okay. I'll fix it later. I don't have any droid commands to run again, but what I do have is I open my commands here. Go over to space. We now have emergency thrust, which is not very helpful, and I probably won't use it, but we do have that command ability if we want it. Depending on your piloting faction, you'll get different abilities to use. Forgot these have the sound effects of like a tie. You'll get different pilot abilities you could use. For neutral, your first one will be emergency thrust, which basically has a chance to not work, and when it does work, it still takes everything away to throw in your thrusters, which don't do that in combat. You could use it to point A to point B, maybe slightly faster. Generally, you'll just never see me use it, though. So you remember our sick topped out at like 479 with a looted thing? Yeah, we're up to 713 on base speed now. Much better. Do I just have to defeat some of Nim's pirates? What am I doing? Hunt down Nimcraft operating a lock system. Okay. Exact location is not known. Great. Cool. Blood Razors. Yeah, here we go. Okay, here's a couple. That was annoying. Whoever was like, let's make a space mission, but then not tell people where to look for they need to go. God, I hope they never made that mistake again with any other games they're making. I don't know what I should look up the stats on this chassis. I don't know where I should throttle for turning on this. You see, these are tier 2s, and that tier 2 earlier when we were doing that CorSec mission, quite chunky. Not anymore. We got 2 weapons crafted. We're going to eat them up. Now, theoretically, you could get better ship parts than this if you invest in reverse engineer parts that you could use, but I don't really know anyone who's picking up who's reverse engineering tier 3 ship parts. Or Cert 3, so I just stick to crafted. It's not worth it. So as I talked about before, ship chassis have different stats when it comes to their turn. Their YPR, if you will. I don't know what the Dune Lizards is. I've never actually like flown the Dune Lizard for anything other than just mindless leveling. Okay. Are we done? I always wait a couple moments before committing to anything. Yeah. Alright, let's hyper back to ground. It's gonna... I mean, I guess I could just destroy him. Actually, no. While we're doing this, let's look up the starter ship stuff. So if you go to the SWG Legends wiki, all the ship stats are listed for the ship on the right side here, and it'll actually give you all of the information you need to know about this. These are updated for any Legends changes, so stuff like max mass, which is useful to know when shopping for a ship chassis, what kind of fire it is, what the ship has for options. So this one has 2 guns and an ordnance, which means 2 blasters and a missile launcher / countermeasures. What kind of astromech it uses, because some use astromech droids, some use flight computers, as one use a flight computer. And then it talks about the chassis base acceleration, deceleration. And then this is the YPR that we're talking about. So the yaw, pitch, and roll. 300, 300, 150. The speed modifier. So it's 95. So it's 5 100ths lower than base, which is 1.0. Slide modifier, 1.3. So a little slidey, but... So this is what I'm talking about when throttling. So the further you are away from its sweet spot for throttling, the less the ship will want to turn. So in this chart, you can see that at 40% throttle, I am maximizing my PYR, so my pitch, yaw, roll percentage, meaning that I can get the most out of my turning at a 40% of my top throttle. At 100%, I'm only getting 60%. So the sweet spot for the Dune Lizard when I want to get sharp turns is anywhere between 40 and 50-ish%. You basically want to stay like plus 90. But if I really want the most turning, I could do it 40. I can also go down to 35, but not too much further than that. If we were using a ship that was more agile, so I'll use the I'll use an extreme. Let's talk about the T-Wing, which is a interceptor class ship, so a little bit smaller, more agile. If we're using the T-Wing, you could see that it has better acceleration, deceleration stats, better YPR a little bit. The speed modifier is a little bit better. Slide it doesn't slide as much. But you can see that at 80% throttle, it's at max turning. So you can go faster and get more out of your turning than you could in a Dune Lizard. But that's because this is a interceptor, smaller ship. Interceptors usually operate a little bit better at higher speeds. You can also see the hitbox and dimensions of the hitbox and what kind of hitbox that is. That's mostly relevant to PvP. For PvE, you don't need to worry about that stuff. Well, soldier, how did things go? All according to plan. I am a soldier, so... No plan survives initial contact with the enemy, but I take it you were successful anyway. I'll credit your bank for services rendered. Thanks. You've earned it. Now go on the town and catch yourself some rest and relaxation. You look terrible. Are you here for work? Yes, I am. Okay, no. We're back to grinding XP, everybody. Can you show how to bind 40% throttle? No. Because I don't know how. There is a way, I just don't know. I don't bind throttle amounts. I only bind droid commands like shunts and shields, and all my macros are broken right now. So I'd have to close the game and redo everything. It's okay, Ludlow. You don't have to know anything about the game. Welcome back. Especially when I'm doing space, I'm mostly just shooting the shit. Because I'm just, like, right now, I'm just trying to find guys to shoot for experience points. Literally head empty activity. Am I going the wrong way again? You know, nothing about most Star Wars games. That's okay. If you're ever curious about Star Wars, or you want to try a Star Wars game and look for specific recommendations, just ask. I got some stuff. Okay, I guess it was the other way. I just didn't go far enough. Wait, I see him. Wait, that's wrong. There's a lot of Star Wars games. And that is not an understatement. I guess there's been fewer Star Wars games since Disney took over. They've been a little bit more conservative with the licensing. Back in the Lucas days, he'd just hand that shit out like candy. And then he'd have his hands in every project. Now, let me make a waypoint. A lot of the more recent Star Wars games that come out, well, a lot's probably an overstatement. I'd say half of the recent Star Wars games that come out since Disney got the IP, I just have little to no interest in. A lot of mobile titles, and I'm just not a mobile gamer. I don't really play many games on my phone. A lot of like stuff that's like a Disney game with Star Wars characters in it, which is fine, but again, I'm not really that interested in it. Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor are really good. I haven't played Survivor yet, but I heard good things. I just been waiting for it to go on sale because while I like Fallen Order, I don't think it's worth $60 for me. I played through it once and was like, that was fun, and then I moved on. Like, Ludlow, I know you like Tomb Raider. If you like modern Tomb Raiders, like the reboot and like Nathan Drake game, the Uncharted games, you might like Jedi Fallen Order. It's another kind of like action adventure RPG kind of game. A lot of people compare it to Dark Souls, which it does have some Souls mechanics from it, but honestly, I'd call it more of an Uncharted game than a Dark Souls game. There's more of an emphasis on just puzzle, like physics puzzles and exploration and like action sequences than there is in like crunchy RPG character building that Dark Souls usually features. There's also the Battlefield games that DICE, or Battlefront games that DICE did, which is just Battlefield, but with a Star Wars skin, and those are... I like Battlefront 2, Battlefront 1, eh. I liked Star Wars Squadrons for the arcadey fight shooter that it was. There's probably a recent Star Wars title that I'm forgetting. But the ones you play were Clone Wars on the PS2, Battlefront PS2, Force Unleashed, and Lethal Alliance. That's a pretty good list. Those were all pretty good. Specifically Battlefront, like classic Battlefront's really good. I think classic Battlefront is better than DICE Battlefront in terms of just like uniqueness in game design. Because really, like I said, modern Battlefront is just Battlefield with a Star Wars skin. The production value is awesome though. Like it sounds a lot like Star Wars, really visceral. But in terms of gameplay, this plays more like a Battlefield than just classic Battlefront, in my opinion. In terms of the classic Star Wars games, I would say, well, there's this game, but if you're not into MMOs, the Jedi Outcast series is good, or Jedi Outcast is really good. Gameplay feels a little aged, but it still feels alright. I'm trying to think of one that's like legit good, not like, oh, the Lego Star Wars games. Classics. Just gotta get the complete edition or whatever. And you're like, eh, the old one, not the Skywalker Saga. Skywalker Saga is fine, but that's a different beast altogether. Oh, the Rogue Squadron games are pretty fun if you like arcadey flight games. Honestly, the Star Wars Bounty Hunter game where you play Jango Fett's pretty good. It came out on the GameCube. That one's pretty good. Shadow of the Empire is like, I like it for what it is, but it's not the best. Republic Commando is really good if you like tactics shooters. Like Brother in Arms kind of type shooters where you're commanding a squad. You have mixed feelings with MMOs? Yeah, no, I get it. MMOs are dedication, which is why I don't play more than one at a time usually. I'm usually just like, okay, I'm playing Galaxies and that's it. And people are like, why don't you play on other Galaxy emulators? I'm like, oh, because I'm kind of in a committed relationship with this emulator. Even doing more than one emulator at a time for any serious amount, that feels like a lot for me. So let me check my XP. You've been here a bit. We capped? No, we can get more. It always caps at whole numbers or round numbers divisible by 10, I think. And I'm just gonna keep going until we get as much XP as possible. Like, I was playing Final Fantasy XIV online with Griffin Striker, but haven't felt the mood. That's as much as I do. Is this and 14 at the same time? I don't really care to play WoW, and I've played Star Wars: The Old Republic to death already, so I don't really care to play it anymore. They're not adding any more significant content to that game anyways. Also, again, this is why I say space is such a good way of earning credits. All this money I'm earning and the ship parts I'm selling to make more money, that's just free profit, man. I don't have to spend any credits to do this. I don't have to spend credits on buffs, technically. I don't have to repair my ship. If I get damaged, I just escape pod. I'm killing these guys really fast compared to on ground, where even if you're killing enemies fast, you gotta wait for action to come back a lot of the time. or you're limited by other factors. This, they just keep flowing in. I'm like, free money, baby. That's why when people asked earlier in one of the previous streams, what's considered rich? I'm like, it depends. Rich on ground is a completely different rich than rich in space. As it's due to how the game's designed. I wish those prices were more in line with each other, but that'd require a big overhaul. And for this emulator, at least, Cat's already out of the bag with, like, money earning. Any, like, significant money earning reduction in, like, space is gonna hurt new players coming into space versus veterans who already have billions, right? So you'd have to rebalance it before you launch the server. There's also, you know, wiping the server and starting over, but the Legends staff has said they're not going to do that, and I respect that decision. My only journey was Warframe. Warframe I hear is pretty good. I've never played it myself, but I've had a couple friends tell me good things about it. It is an easy one to pick up and come back to, though. Same with, like, with other live service games like Destiny. It's kind of easy to play that for a bit, walk away, come back. More traditional MMOs have a little bit more of a grind structure and heavily incentivized return daily play. The games for service games haven't quite as much nailed that. I mean, they got the addiction loops with, like, loot boxes and stuff, but that's different, man. Yeah, man, I mean, enjoy the games for how you enjoy them. If you don't want to get stuck in that, like, grind loop, then don't. Somebody else, I think it was back on Wednesday, they were in chat here talking about how they tend to hop from game to game. They have game commitment issues, and their friends were telling them that they need to better commit to a game. And I'm like, hey, man, some people just like to sample everything, and that's totally fine. You don't have to go hard on a game to enjoy it. They're there to be fun bits of entertainment. They're not there to be jobs. I mean, if you want a second job, there's plenty of games that can be that for you. That's just not what I want from my games at this point in my life. Yeah, that's the problem when you walk away from a live service game that's being actively developed. You, like, stop for a while, come back, and, like, what's going on? Like, if it's just they bumped up the level cap, then it's like, oh, okay, well, let me hop on the, you know, leveling train or whatever. But when it's games like that and it's, like, gear-oriented, you're like, what? Or, like, especially if they add new mechanics and stuff, you're like, what the fuck am I doing? I have to do what now? Like, even if they have a good onboarding system for that content, it still can be confusing. Okay, we're capped on XP. We can get out of here now. Yeah, honestly, the only reason I knew about Toontown as a kid is I think I saw a TV ad for it on one of Disney's own networks. Before that, I didn't know it was a thing. That was as a kid, obviously. I haven't watched actual cable TV in a billion years. I'm not into sports, and honestly, I think that's the only real main reason to have cable TV at this point. Is because, man, if you want to subscribe to any, like, sports streaming service, you're going to be paying a lot of freaking money, man. But you can see that we started piloting today, and I'm almost halfway through the wheel. It doesn't take that long to get to Ace. It's just, you know, great. You just got to do the missions. The missions are what takes time, not XP. Forgot we're done talking to him. You're doing an excellent job for me, Vum. I can see that you're ready for some training. What kind of training? Why don't we teach you the intermediate starship components? All right. Good choice. Now I have a special assignment for you. Fly to Lock and inspect a NIM cannon ship for shipment orders. What kind of orders? That's what we want to know. Just what he's shipping around and who he's doing it for. And that's what you're going to find out. Okay. So we ranked up. And now we can use Certification 5. I don't have those on me, so I need to go get those. We're actually flying through these piloting ranks faster than I thought we would, even though I know it doesn't take very long. So we actually have to go to my house and pick those up. They're in a bag in a bunker. So anyone who is, I think it was Sub-Zero who was asking to see a Mustafarian bunker one stream, you're about to see one. At least the top floor of one. I'm just going to grab all my Cert 5, Cert 7, 7, 7, 7, 5. 775. Apparently, I don't have a Cert 7 engine, so I'll probably or we'll go buy that when we get up there. I don't know if we'll get there today. Barely anything. All right, so we're back, and before we go out on this mission, let's upgrade our ship a little bit. So we loaded, we did a whole one mission, but we're gonna start upgrading our ship. You'll see that this one takes a little bit more mass, but you know what? We got plenty of room in this sucker. So we're just gonna load Mark III, load the Mark III, load the Mark III. Make sure that we load both armors. Capacitor. I don't think I have a bigger booster. That's fine. Rafted's better. And we'll load the heavy blasters now. You'll see though that those certification 3s we used for exactly one mission, and now we don't use them anymore. Yay! That's why I'm like, don't worry about making special reverse engineering projects for any of this. You're just gonna blast through these things. Let's launch the ship. All right, we gotta go back to lock system because Nim is being a spicy boy. All right, we gotta go inspect the target before it leaves this sector. So we probably need to go disable it too. It hasn't hypered in yet though, so right. Also, did we get another ship piloting ability? No. Right? Well, you have the objective craft. Use the inspect command. Okay. Inspect target. Inspect a NIM cannon ship for shipment status orders. NIM cannon ship. Is there no waypoint to this one? Are you kidding me? I have to look for the ship to... I have to go find NIM's ship? Oh my god. Actually, though, what the fuck? I have to go find this thing? In the space sector? That's bullshit. While we fly, I'm gonna see if there's a guide for this. Like, real talk, this is bullshit. Okay, yeah. There's a waypoint. Shoutouts to the SWG Legends wiki. Saved by the waypoint. Was I even gonna get close to it? No. It is 9,000 meters, and it's about almost like a total 90 degrees difference of where I was looking. Yeah, this would have took forever to find. Absolute ass. Why would you design a mission like this? For reference, I don't remember any of the Smugglers Alliance missions just sending me out to like, hey, go find this ship to scan Lamau. Man, I'm just bewildered. Is that it? Is it over there? No. Nim cannon ship. There we go. That's a tier 2, and we're in Cert 5 gear, so... I gotta be careful not to kill it on accident. Okay, luckily it's got some chunk. Alright, so it has what we need. We're gonna dock with it. Hopefully that was guaranteed. If this mission is a % chance to find that, that would be terrible. Okay, we're done. I'm gonna read you guys the wiki entry on this post, by the way, because it is freaking hilarious. It is really funny. And not in a good way. I'll read it to you while we hyper to home port. So the note, make sure you destroy the engines and not the reactor before you dock. While disabling via the reactor will allow you to dock and you to receive a message saying you got the plans. The mission will not update. The new line. I just tested this by disabling the reactor instead of the engine, and the mission updated properly. 3/26/10, so March 26, 2010. New line. I disabled the reactors, got mission update, but mission failed once landed. August 11th, 2010. Update, March 21st, 2017. Only one ship counts for this mission. It will spawn at the way listed above, but fly in a straight line away from the waypoint. There are also NIM cannon ships that spawn near the waypoint, which do not count. Smiley face. And they signed their name. Update, August 17th, 2018. For me, it was a Kimagilla fighter. Do a quote, target Nim, quote, and kill every Nim fighter around the waypoint until the cannon spawns. All this for a required rank-up quest, man. This game is true spaghetti code, but even in the emulator community in 2018, people are still making notes about how to correctly do a mission that is literally just find ship, disable it, and get the plans by docking. But there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes explaining how to do this mission without breaking it. Beautiful. That's Star Wars Galaxies in a nutshell, everybody. I couldn't put it better myself. Thank you, SOE devs. Very cool. All right, what's good? Word with you, Vum. I have the shipment orders. Perfect. I'll turn these over to intelligence. I've got your payment right here. Thanks. Now, if you excuse me, I gotta go station up, grab a bunch of junkers. No laughing matter. Ready for training. Train me. All right, good choice. Now I have a special assignment for you. Go to the Dantooine space and destroy the Hutt transport. The Hutts are making a large spice shipment through that system, and we do not intend to let it reach the destination, which could very well be Corellia. Cool. All right, back into space. And we're able to do all these missions back to back, by the way, because of our overstocking of experience while I was defeating Black Scales. If we didn't have the necessary XP, we'd have to go get it before being able to do this mission. Hutt spice shipment. There are no other... oh, they gave you the title, Hutt Transport. So I could do target Hutt Transport to try and find it when we get there. Shouts to anybody who has ever added the SWG wiki in a way like this, or SWG Legends wiki, because clearly there's been updates. Shouts to you all. You're the real MVPs. I would have been looking for that NIM ship forever if that waypoint wasn't there. You're not too far ahead of the transport. We will notify. Oh, did they actually give me a waypoint for this one? Oh, sick, cool. I don't have to do needle in the haystack. All right, so we want to disable this transport. Or to destroy it? Yeah, destroy the spice transport. Never mind. So the fun part about this one is I could tell that the spice transport is tier 3, so we should delete it with our current ship loadout. For reference, if you wanted to go to Kashyyyk now with this ship loadout, certification 5 is probably enough to get you through most of the required prerequisite Kashyyyk missions to get like ED and whatever. I just want to get Ace just to knock it out. This is a cool ship, by the way. Looks kind of like a jet. Great job. This is one spice ship that won't be making its way to destination. Do I even have to do anything else here? Gonna give it a minute, make sure. Nope, that's it. All right. Home port. These missions are really short for space missions. I know I'm jinxing myself, but damn. Bum, my favorite pilot. Did you stop the transport? I blew it to bits. Good. Nothing more satisfying than that, right? I've got your pay right here, along with some news. What is it? You've done an excellent job for me, Vum. I can see that you're ready for training. Oh, but the news is training. How about reactor engineering hour? Doesn't that sound interesting? Sure. Good choice. Your new abilities will come in handy for your next time. Go escort a freighter through Yavin space against rebel aggressions. We're fighting the Rebel Alliance now? No, of course not. Corellia is officially neutral in this little war. Little war? But if they think that means they and the Empire can divide every resource in the galaxy, they've got another thing coming. Okay. We're going to go to the Yavin system. Got a droid interface for that one mission. Neat. Crafted interface is always better. Don't ever worry about reward or looted ones. Back into space we go. All right, so for this one, looks like we have to fight some rebels. We have to destroy 2 X-Wings and then a Y-Wing while escorting the ship. And then we will be sent to our next piloting trainer, which is ironically a NIMS Cantina unlock, even though we blew up NIMS pirate ships during this. Interesting. Interesting choice, CorSec. To put your own commander in NIMS territory. Alright. We're here in Lox or Yavin 4 system. I gotta go rendezvous with these ships and escort them. Here we go. For anyone wondering if I'm going to do Ace of Aces, which is getting Ace with all 9 pilot trainers on this character, chances are low. I have never done that before. However, on Legends, it's not as bad as it sounds, as every time you get Ace, you get a XP bonus, so there's less and less XP you'll have to grind every time you go to do another Ace pilot. There's also a guide for Ace of Aces on the SWG Legends forum, so if you ever want to do that, I highly recommend following that guide. That'll make your life way easier. I think Splinter Strike authored it. It's under the piloting section of the forum, I think. I glanced at it once and I was like, huh, okay, well, this is good to know that this is here if I should ever need it. Alright, this is our escort target. You'll see that it's faster than the freighter we were escorting earlier. That's because I think that's because it's our ship base speed is faster. Like, I think the escort freighters will do like 50% of your ship's top speed up to a point, and then will lock at a certain point. So because our ship speed's a little bit higher now, it goes faster. So the escort missions can go a little bit quicker. You'll notice this at Ace, because some missions you'll do, maybe as an Ace with a really fast ship, like my crate, and the freighter will move so fast that sometimes you'll just skip getting an ambush altogether, or the ambush will spawn, but then the ship leaves immediately. So that's always fun when that happens, but... So increasing your base engine speed is important, not just for getting around, but also so these freaking escort targets move faster. Again, I'm following the ship, which is why you see my throttle doing that fun little up and down. That's not me. Yeah, so I'm sure getting to Ace will take a little bit more time as we level up and move through the piloting trainers. But honestly, this section of Ace has gone pretty fast. I think they always go pretty fast. But these CorSec missions, other than, of course, starting with the Sick, aren't too bad so far. Especially with the help of the Legends Wiki. If it wasn't for that, I might still be looking for NIMS cannon ship. So, I highly recommend, if you're ever confused or lost on a mission, just bring up the wiki. Just search pilot trainer. It'll take you to a page of all the pilot trainers. Click on the one you started with, and then just start following that list. Because if you click on the one you're training with, CorSec, they'll give you a list of CorSec trainers, and you click on the trainer, and then it'll give you their whole quest line of quests and whatever. Uh-oh, someone's coming to attack me. There's crumbs on my desk from eating the cookie earlier. I'll get it in a minute. Sorry, Rebels. I love you, but you're doing it bad right now. Or you're countering my goals. Interestingly, I don't lose Rebel faction for this, so that's good at least. I like how that freighter referred to them as Rebel pilots. Which squadron is this? This is CorSec Squadron. So the true neutral of privateer pilots. They do not lean Rebel or Imperial. I have never done CorSec Squadron, which is why I'm doing it. There's no tactical decision behind this. It was just, I haven't done CorSec yet. And I'm Rebel, so I don't want to do Royal Security Forces. And I want to do a neutral piloting faction. I usually do Smuggler's Alliance. Or if I'm doing Rebel, I do Havoc. I might do another Rebel trainer and switch this to a Rebel pilot at some point. We'll see. If I do that, that probably won't be until I'm already level 90. I don't think I'm going to do another... I don't think I'm going to level another ace. Wow, we didn't even have to fight the Y-Wing. Apparently there was a Y-Wing that's supposed to spawn in a second wave, but the ship moved fast enough to where you just didn't even need to do it. Well, let's hyper to ground and turn this quest in. So we talked to Captain Rick now. Escort mission a success? Yes. I know that's not the most glamorous assignment, but when duty calls, we've got to answer, right? Or am I right? You're right or you're right. It gives us only 2 options. That's very clever. Good job, quest writer. You're right. Of course I'm right. Now, don't you hesitate to visit me again the very moment you're available for duty. If I talk to him again, he says, I want you to travel to Locke and see Commander Ramna. She'll probably be holed up in Nim's Cantina. Why Locke? I don't have all the details, suffice to say, but that sometimes CorSec needs to be a little more proactive. We can't always wait for trouble to come to us. Okay, see ya. Good luck. So next time we'll be talking to Commander Ramna. And between now and then, off stream, I'm going to cap out my experience. So I'll have enough experience to slam through those quests. But that's going to be it for this session of 190. Everybody, thank you for joining me for the end of the Naboo Legacy and starting my space journey on this character. Next time, like I said, we'll be seeing Commander Ramna. I don't know if we'll get Ace next time, but we might at this pace. But thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next part.